So I said, I don't want to be in charge.
Sounds unethical.
I don't want to be in charge of the women either. I don't want to be in charge.
Wouldn't that leave you up to wide open for a lawsuit? This is what my boss at work made me do?
I wouldn't. No, they offer it.
Well, that's what they say.
I said, look, I'm not taking bribes. I'm not taking bribes for this, but I don't want to be in charge of the women. If they don't show up, I got to go find another one to take her place, and I'm not going to be in charge of all of that. So I said, okay, let me think about it, and I just never called him back.
Oh.
So I had the job, but
yeah. What would it have paid?
More than the radio gig was paying. So, but I didn't like the hours. I mean, 10 o'clock in the morning till 8, 9 o'clock at night, and then I have to do all the receipts and go to the bank, and it's like a 12-hour day. And I don't want to stare at naked girls that long.
No.
Flip that off.
No.
So we got to close out this Mug and Ass 7 o'clock hour. We have the drops of the week coming up. We have the Bernarelli Cutlery Cuts of the week coming up. We have the Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day coming up. Send yours in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Matt Rocchio will be with me for a balloon party. He's sticking around from his responsibilities with Randy Character and Michelle Smallman since Jackson is vacationing in the Hamptons today. So that's coming up at 10 o'clock. Pepper and Jeannie, you guys going to follow up on your DP discussion from yesterday?
I don't know. I think we put that one pretty much to bed.
Yeah.
When we get a topic, we bury that.
We got a couple of Mount Rushmore topics we want to throw.
Oh, nice. What do you got?
Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that, but I will have that ready.
Favorite character names in movies or TV shows, not the character himself, the actor's name, the character name. And then some favorite lines from movies. So we're going to do that.
I guess Pepper and Jeannie.
Okay.
P&G, baby.
It's not all sex on Pepper and Jeannie.
I'm sorry, I missed the DP discussion. I guess the best DP combination, Ozzy to her to Jack Clark.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
6-4-3.
We mentioned that.
Yeah.
Probably the best was Manuel, Marcus Dupree, and...
who'd they play for?
Marcus Dupree was with Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, but they didn't
Rhodes,
turn double
probably.
plays in football.
Yeah, and I think the fun one was, Eiffel Tower. Is it a DP? And so I think that's what we kind of said.
We're
going to leave that as a teaser.
They play baseball in France now.
That's correct.
Okay. See, that's why I guess I should have listened to the show.
There's not another show in the country that would have talked about that yesterday.
French baseball?
French baseball. That's
And we
correct.
talked about knocking on the door. When there's somebody in there, there's nobody in there. I know Moon was asking when people knock on the door, what should you do? Because I guess I knocked on the door one day when he was in there.
Talking about the bathroom now.
Bathroom here, and we talked about etiquette. Look, just, stop shutting the door if you're not in there. That would cure everything. People shut the door and they're not even in there, and you think, oh, I'm going to wait. No, but you're not. Guess what? There's nobody in there.
Guess what? Yeah.
So you have
Sometimes there's doors, if they lock, it'll say occupied, unoccupied.
Yeah, we brought that up.
Maybe we need that.
Well, nice, Doug. You did listen to the show.
Aunt Peg's not happy with those. Aren't Mount Rushmore topics movie lines. The creative juices are really flowing on P&G. That's from Aunt Peg, who may or may not have won his match yesterday. I don't know.
Quit texting in crap.
Oh.
And text in your score. I still don't know what it is. It's not going up until you text in and let me know what you did. It's not going up there.
Do we need Mark Cooper to confirm it, though? I mean, we need two sources for something this important as that.
I think we're good.
I don't know. Cooper listens to the show. I do. I trust Aunt Peg.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan of TMA, and we are thrilled to have another new sponsor on board the show. A couple of guys I have gotten to know. Longo Biggs, Injury Law, Doug Biggs, and C.D. Longo here with me. And C.D., one of the things that I want our audience to know is this. When people get injured in an accident, they don't necessarily know what to do, and that's where you guys come into play.
Yeah. Tim, it can be a very confusing process. If you get hurt in a car accident or injured some other way, people do not know what to do. They don't even know how to start a claim. We're going to take the hassle out of your hands and make the entire process very easy. Injury cases are potentially worth a lot of money. We're going to make sure you get every dollar you deserve. We're very excited to be part of the TMA family. We're hoping to have a lot of fun with this. If you or a loved one do get injured, please remember us at Longo Biggs Injury Law. You can visit our website at longobiggs.com, and that is Biggs with 2 G's.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day. Rise and shine, St. Louis. It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After on KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. At the Morning After STL on YouTube and on TMASTL.com with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, Iggy Strode, The Plowboy, and Action Jackson.
7:07 in St. Louis. You're listening to the Ryan Kelly Morning After. Welcome to the Michelob Ultra Studios. It's the Munganess St. Louis Acura Alden Toyota 7 o'clock hour. Come on in, friends. The water is warm. The EDF Group text inbox, 314-881-TMA5. And you're welcome to email in for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. And Doug, you said, let's just do phone calls today. And I said, that sounds like a perfect way to celebrate a Jim Dandy in Columbia, Missouri on Sattersbin.
Well, that was quite a little afternoon, wasn't it? Best Mizzou game I can remember in a while.
Yeah, Gabe and I were texting about that this morning. I'll pose this query to you. Best Missouri win since ? Best game at Faroe Field since ? We were in agreement on one, and we had a different perspective on another.
Was that Oklahoma game that they won?
That's a nice play.
Yeah.
I got one sooner than that, but that's a nice play.
I don't remember one sooner. But beating Florida was kind of a big deal, I guess, at the time. Was that last year, the year before? I kept thinking about that Oklahoma game.
I would say my answer, when the Colonel and I were texting this morning, the Colonel will join us, presented by James Carlton, coming up at about 9. And you can read his thoughts on PowerMizzou.com. Best win since beating Arkansas in 2014 to clinch the SEC East. Best game since beating Johnny Manziel and Texas A&M, albeit they were a bit of a shell of themselves, comparatively speaking, to their 2012 year in 2013, which won the SEC East in 2013. Either way, before Mevis's kick, I was thinking to myself, this has been, and the broadcaster said it, this has been a classic. It really was a classic. You don't see that too often this early in the season, a non-conference game, an 11 o'clock game, but it truly was. Up until halftime, I thought Missouri, both from a coaching standpoint and an execution standpoint, couldn't have done much better. No penalties. Brady Cook looked outstanding up until he got injured. Luther Burden is a star in the making. He's beyond in the making now at this point. And I thought the play calling was so impressive, and here's why. Clearly, they had laid dormant in the first 2 weeks. It was a strategy. And you didn't see Brady Cook run much the first couple of weeks. I believe the first couple plays for Missouri was Brady Cook running. Then they opened up the offense. He was able to execute it. He played his best game, both before getting hurt and then, to his credit, after getting hurt. He was able to execute. That was incredible. But the thing that stands out to me from a big picture perspective is Missouri hasn't been 3-0 since 2018. And what we've talked about so often on this show, what I talk about on 101, and what I talk about on my podcast is one of the issues Missouri has is any sign of optimism the program has is usually deflated by the time you even get to September. And therefore, the momentum is destroyed. And so if you can have a win like that early in the year and a schedule that could, you got to capitalize on it, could get you to 5-0 heading into LSU, what that can do, both short-term for the program, but long-term, is invaluable. And that is what that was about on Saturday afternoon. And it was incredibly fun to watch, but incredibly important, big picture as well.
Yeah, it was a great game to watch. I was screaming at my TV at the end of the half. I didn't like the sequence of offensive plays Mizzou ran at the end of the half. I think the score was tied. Cook takes off running, goes out of bounds, gets hurt, hobbled. He's on one foot. They bring in Sam Horn. There's about a minute and a half to go, and they're about at the 35-yard line, 40. Every chance to get into field goal range again, and they just ran the ball up the middle. All of a sudden, they started running out the clock. Was that not the perfect time to put Horn in and say, all right, Mr. Rifle Arm quarterback, throw it deep. We get a completion, we got an easy field goal or a score. If it's intercepted, all right, they've got the ball at their own, 10-yard line with no time left. I thought they went way too conservative just on that last drive. And I guess once Cook got hurt, they were afraid to do anything. Must have been what it was.
Let's see. For this is a minute and a half left. Missouri's leading 17-14. Brady Cook pass incomplete. Pete run for 1 yard. Cody Schrader run for 3 yards. And Missouri punts.
Yeah.
Right. So Horn wasn't in that.
He went in one play when Cook got hurt.
I think he played 1 or 2 plays. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he just handed off.
Yeah.
I thought if Cook is hurt, the half is almost over. Get him ready to go for the second half. Don't put him back in there and throw the ball deep. What the heck? What do you got to lose there? They might have gotten a field goal. They wouldn't have needed the heroics at the end. But, it worked out. It worked out. I was also screaming at the coaches because they thought the downing the ball, the second down with 6 seconds to go, they thought that apparently meant they had a timeout.
Well, that was...
They treated it like, well, we get a timeout now that we down the ball like that.
I think what I take away from the coaching on the front half of it is the game plan, the execution. I thought Eli Drinkwitz up until 59, maybe 57 minutes of that game out-coached a really good coach in Chris Kleinman with Kansas State. I thought Chris Kleinman's play calling at the end of the second half was more egregious. But taking it from the game planning, I think, again, that it was strategic to lay dormant with the offensive playbook in the first couple of games, which was kind of ballsy considering the Middle Tennessee State thing. And the play calling really... I mean, if Brady Cook doesn't get hurt, I think they win that game comfortably. Now, keep in mind, Will Howard got hurt for Kansas State as well. It's important to contextualize that. What took place at the end of the game, and I mentioned the 0 penalties at the half, and then the 2 delay game penalties in the fourth quarter late in the game, the timeout after a first down as they were driving for the drive that led to the Mevis kick. Those are huge mistakes. Those are huge mistakes. And had they lost that game, that's what people would be talking about, and honestly, people would be talking about making a change at head coach because of it. And I don't think that would have been right, but I know that that's what would have happened. You can't have that happen. Calling a timeout after a first down when you only have 1 timeout left with 35 seconds, you can't have that happen. So it cuts both ways. I thought the coaching and the preparation, the execution in the first half was outstanding, and the fact that they didn't have any turnovers, outstanding. Can't say enough positive things about it. But the delay of game thing, I mean, that's up there with, the Tony LaRusso, Lance Lynn. I didn't know you were going to be out here. I mean, that was such
he was in the restroom, wasn't he?
A mistake, and that it was 7 seconds left, because I've gone back to watch it multiple times now. He realizes that they're not going out there to either kick a field goal or run a play. And the best case scenario, they came out there and then they, after the delay of game, ran a play with 6 seconds left and had the ball knocked down, which may have been the best case scenario considering, can you imagine run out? I realize you got a 61-yard field goal. You're not expecting to make that. But then Mevis does come out there. Here is a guy who has had so many issues, really dating back to missing a 20-yard field goal that would have won the game against Auburn last year on the Plains. And just freed up, I think, because I don't think many people are expecting him to make it. He's freed up, and here is the call of Mike Kelly on Mevis's kick.
Hit the lever, Plowsy.
One of the best calls, by the way, too.
61-yard attempt from Harrison Mevis just to the right of the left hash. Out of the hold of Luke Bauer with 3 seconds to play in regulation, tied at 27. Good snap, good place. Kick is up. It is... Harrison Mevis sends the Mizzou students running onto the turf as Missouri wins it on a 61-yard field goal by Harrison Mevis.
How do you do? Mike Kelly. Couldn't be a bigger fan.
I'm a big fan of Harrison Beavis, and I was before, just because he looks like they put a uniform on one of the other players' dads. I mean, he looks like he's 45 years old.
The fans were about to walk him out and take his scholarship away a week ago. So this is good redemption. I like to see a kid kind of get his mojo back. They could probably help him throughout the year. That's a 61-yard bomb.
That would have been good from another 3 or 4 yards.
It's insane to think about. I think you're correct.
I heard him in one interview say he made a 75-yarder in practice once.
Yeah.
He said he had a tailwind behind him, but he made it from 75. That's kicking from your own 35?
Yeah, Luther Burden, give him 25 touches. I mean, Pete and Schrader are fine, but I would just do wide receiver screens, load the left side or the right side, and just have that be a running game. He is so good. I mean, we talked in the. I think he could be in the NFL right now and be a good slot receiver.
Yeah,
you put a little bit more weight on, but that happened when you get to the NFL. Like, he is a legit threat.
What did you think
of
of the fans storming the field?
I thought it was just ridiculous. But again, it was a big-ass win. But it's week 2. We don't really fully know what K-State is. You know, they could lose the 2 of their next 3 and be unranked. You kind of look back and go, well, it's just a little bit of above-average team.
See, the storming in the field, to me, is not choreographed. You're caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
It's not about you're playing Kansas State. It's about a 61-yard field goal in a game that had been so tense, so intense, and you have that happen. You go from absolute despair and booing, justifiably so, not booing Brady Cook. I think the goalposts were moved on that post-game comment. We'll talk about that. Not booing Brady Cook, but booing the play calling / delay of game, inexplicable delay of game, second one in 5 minutes in the final 5 minutes of the game, which is on coaching. And then you have a guy hit a miracle 61-yard field goal. People just didn't know what to do with themselves. Furthermore, this isn't obviously Alabama, LSU, Georgia. This is a program that hasn't had a win of this caliber in, I think, 9 years or a decade, depending on what your perspective is. And if you go back to Oklahoma in 2010, 13 years. And so for it to end that way, let me put it this way. If K-State throws an incomplete pass in a 35-27 game, 35-28 game, nobody's storming the field. It was the way they won the game that led to that.
Yeah, I have no problem with it all. Part of that is just the emotion of the college game. And if you run onto the field and you keep your hands off the other team and you leave the officials alone and you're just happy and nobody gets hurt, I think it's absolutely fine.
I think I worry about the safety aspect of, I mean, I've been in college. I've been a drunk college kid. I mean, when you run out there, just that you have that libido, you may say something at the wrong time to a team that just lost to a 61-yard field goal. You worry about that thing, but I would love to run out on the field. So I just thought, I'm with Tim. I didn't think about the emotions of things. It probably wasn't choreographed.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a 35-30 game, you know, a 10-point win, whatever, that doesn't. If that happened, then I'd be like, oh, that's a little weird. It was the way that it happened. People were just so stunned. And it wasn't like I don't even know if they would have done it if it was a 25-yard field goal.
Yeah.
You know, it's a 61-yard field goal.
That was so long.
But that's fine. I mean, that comes with college sports. You sit there and you litigate and, you know, who said what in advance, and then it's just social media, whatever. I mean,
how many people do you think were on the field there? You think 20,000? Think they had that many?
I think they had that many.
15?
10 to 15, probably.
Jackson, were you in Columbia?
No.
Why not?
Oh, I thought you were gone. I thought you went to that game.
I wanted to. It was tough to get tickets, man. Sold out game.
Was it?
Yeah. I didn't want to pay absorbent amount for it because I know I'm going this week, and then I'm going to the game against LSU. So I thought 11 a.m. game on Saturday, I'll sit at home.
Where'd you watch it? You watch it at home?
I watched it at home with my friends, yeah.
Oh, Private Citizen Pete, Oatmeal, and Herb.
Oatmeal?
No, Oatmeal's in Germany.
Of course he is.
MPK and Private Citizen Pete.
MPK.
Is it any harder to get tickets at the stadium, like right before a game, since there are no paper tickets anymore?
No, you can. That's.
I know you can transfer, but do you believe everybody?
There's still paper tickets. There's still paper. When I went to the game against Middle Tennessee State, I had a paper ticket.
Did you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I watched it at home, and almost lost my sanity when Drink took a delay of game penalty, thinking that I guess he took a timeout that could have cost him or me, and then calling a timeout after a first down was strange. But hey, listen, I've been an outspoken Brady Cook criticizer. I've criticized the guy, and he performed better than I thought he ever could. I mean, such progress in what he's done. The exact same play that Luther scored in that big 50-yard touchdown was underthrown against Middle Tennessee State and resulted in a 30-yard gain as opposed to a touchdown. He threw that ball in stride to Luther for a touchdown. The screenplay to Luther was outstanding. Just truly, that was a game that I did not see coming for the Tigers, but hope to see more of throughout the season.
It was amazing to watch the line move. It kicked off, depends on your book, but it had gone from K-State minus 5.5 to either 3 or 3.5. And people say, oh, Las Vegas. It's not Las Vegas. It's people all over the world who run these algorithms, and that's what Las Vegas doesn't move. Las Vegas moves the line in response to the smart money, and the smart money, totally counterintuitive to what we saw from the first 2 weeks from Missouri, was on Missouri. And you obviously saw what happened. The thing about that game, and again, this is I suppose hypothetical, but up until the 2 delays of game, and I don't know if I would say that the first one was on Eli Drinkwitz and the coaches. The second one certainly was the one that was right before the kick. I thought that was such a well-coached game and an illustration of progress for the program that I was feeling like if they lost, which I totally expected them to lose when it was 27-27 and K-State had the ball, didn't you? I went because my wife was at an event, and so she didn't watch it, and we watched it actually last night, the final few minutes, just because she hadn't seen it. We both went to Missouri. And watching that when it was 27-27 with K-State with the ball around midfield, my expectation was, and it was, that fullback. How often do you see a fullback catching passes? But he was so damn good. I can't recall what his name is. You know what I'm talking about? 34?
Sinet.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah,
he's a
tight
baller,
end,
man.
Like Travis Kelce.
I thought he was a fullback, but he looks like a tight end.
Yeah.
He's a fullback.
So he's a fullback. So he's downfield, and Howard, I believe it was Howard, they bring in the running quarterback, the freshman, but this was Howard, who was beat up also, just like Cook. And he kind of throws it on his back shoulder, making him turn around. If he throws that ball properly, K-State's at the 35, and that game is most likely going K-State's way as they kick a field goal with time running out, because they would have just grinded the clock down. But because of that, and then Missouri's defense ratchets it up with some pressure on third down, and then they have to punt to Missouri. In that moment, I'm thinking, okay, even if this goes to overtime, it's not about wins and losses. That's why when, like Gabe, for example, but certainly other fans as well and observers of college football, he's got to win 6 games or he's got to win 7 games. It's how you do it. It's how you do it as well in college football. And from my standpoint, that game had already shown a leap by Brady Cook, certainly, and a leap by the coaching staff from the play calling standpoint. So had they lost, I would have been saying that, and it would have certainly been unpopular. The delay of game before the field goal that's coaching malpractice. Using the timeout with 35 seconds left after a first down is just, that's concerning. Those 2 things are concerning. But that's not what happened. They got the win. They got a signature win, and it keeps the momentum. Now people are talking about Missouri, both locally and nationally, and that's what the program needs. That highlight on a crappy weekend of college football got played over and over and over again, and that's what you need to build a program. You have to keep that momentum. It is critical that they win games that they're a touchdown favorite, 6.5-point favorite against Memphis, which is not a gimme. That is not a gimme. Memphis is 3-0. And win in Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt lost this weekend to Barry Odom's UNLV team. You do that, and it sets the stage for the possibility, after LSU went into Starkville and beat the hell out of Mississippi State, a 5-1, I believe they'd be 5-1 LSU team against a 5-0 Missouri team. But Missouri fans know, you feel like you've got great progress, and then you take a step backward. And so it's important to capitalize on this and not have a misstep against Memphis or Vanderbilt. Brady Cook's health is incredibly important. Now you understand, I think, why Chase Daniel, when he did the interview, said, hey, I was in camp. Brady Cook is clearly the guy. But we certainly didn't see it in the first 2 weeks. We saw it on display this week. And, here's a guy who played through a torn shoulder labrum last year, could clearly run it when he had the opportunity to do it. And to his credit, he was able to execute, not just on the long ball, because that was blown coverage in the K-State secondary. He's got to hit that pass. But the pass that he hit over the middle that set up the 61-yard field goal would have been 56 yards. That was an inside slant route with coverage, and he executed that. That to me was the best pass that he threw. I mean, that was absolutely, there was no chance to kick a field goal before that, and he was able to pull that off under pressure and lead the team down the field. That was just so damn impressive.
The way he played should put an end to the conversation.
Thank
Who should be
you.
the quarterback? I don't think that's a question anymore. I mean, he's not going to make anybody forget about Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence, but he's got to be considered at least an average or maybe above average SEC quarterback. He's certainly better than anything Alabama's putting on the field.
Well, I got to
right
tell you,
now.
I mean, that's across the board in the SEC at the moment.
There's nobody that looks a
This
whole
is
lot better.
This is
Jaden Daniels is the only one in the SEC that looks really dominant.
which is why Georgia had its issues with Spencer Rattler and in South Carolina before pulling away. That was a 14-3 game. I don't know how many people were paying attention to that. 14-3 game at the half with South Carolina leading at Georgia, and that's a South Carolina team that didn't look real good against North Carolina. And then you have Alabama, and that's quite a situation. They had been in the top 10, I think, for 128 straight weeks of college football polls, and that came to an end. They are out after having to win 17-3 against South Florida in a rain delay game in Tampa. And Tennessee was number 11 in the country. Kind of thought that was the play to short this year, Tennessee. So you saw them lose in the Swamp. You saw the Gators lose at Utah. This thing is perhaps as up for grabs as it's been in a while. And that's not to say it's Missouri's place to take. It's just an observation on the SEC is how they're playing now and also a non-conference. Missouri's win against Kansas State is the SEC's best non-conference win to date.
Yeah. And there's some other teams near the top of the rankings that haven't really set the world on fire either.
Florida State
barely
nearly
got
lost to
past-
BC.
Yeah, Boston College could have lost that one.
I brought up Ole Miss 2 weeks ago as a sneaker play. I think Jackson Darton, the Lane train, I think they're right in it. They had a great win.
Your Illinois club took another drubbing.
I mean, I told you that was going to happen. Penn State's good.
Yeah.
Penn State's really good. Illinois is not that great. It's a bad weekend for me, but it was fun to see.
Everybody lost for you.
Yeah, it was fun to watch the.
You weren't rooting against Missouri, were you?
No, it was a good game. I always root for Brady Cook. I'm a huge fan. I hate how they bash him. And you got to think about maybe it being the playbook the last year or so. Because the dude can play, but Deacon and Duncan
when
on the
Drinkwitz
field.
wasn't calling the plays last year, that's when Bush Hampton was, who
fantastic.
left to go to Boise State. He was freed up and he was outstanding. And again, he was doing that with a torn shoulder labrum in his throwing shoulder. Holy crap!
He's tough as nails.
I
that
love
guy.
him, man.
He'll
I
hang
love
in and
him.
make the throw and take the hit.
I mean, there's a guy, and Gabe wrote about this. It's a great column on Power Mizzou, and again, he'll join us. Brought to you by James Carlton, 314-961-4800, or online at carltoninsurance.net. He's my insurance agent. He's the Plowhawks insurance agent, and he's got 325 five-star reviews, and he is a big Missouri supporter. I bet James is happy as can be, and he'll be in studio in the 9 o'clock hour. James Carlton, online at carltoninsurance.net. That here's a guy who grew up, and all he wanted to do was play for Missouri. And when tell me if I'm wrong, but when he signed to Missouri, people were like, oh, that'll be great. He went to Chaminade, nice. Probably he'll never play, or maybe he'll get to play here and there. And now he's the guy. And certainly has gotten a lot of criticism. I don't think one performance erases that, but he performed in the most important game of his career at an A-plus level while hurt. I looked at the spread, the money line at the half, and I'm just sitting there and I'm watching the game, and I see K-State's plus 130, and I'm going, and Missouri was up 17-14, and I'm going, if I didn't have such an emotional investment in Missouri, I would bet K-State all day long to win that game. Why? Because Brady Cook was hurt. And I just didn't think he was going to be able to do anything in the second half. It takes the run out of play. And so I thought, inevitably, K-State is not going to fear Missouri's offense. You saw how Missouri came out in the second half, which was with a handful of nondescript plays and a 3-and-out. And I thought, well, that's it. They're going to lose, and that sucks because Cook and the coaches and the team had executed well enough to win that game in the first half, and now they're going to lose a game and in major part because Cook got hurt. And from my standpoint, clearly they aren't a fan of Horn, and they're not a fan of Horn. They just think higher of Cook. And then, to his credit, after a bad third quarter, he was able to lead that team. I mean, the throw he made to Norfleet down the sideline, the tight end, that's nice to see.
Too.
Yeah, sick catch. That to have some tight end production, but the throw was outstanding. I mean, it was really impressive how he was able to grind through what was a knee. I thought it was an ankle initially. A knee. And lead that team. And like I said, the throw, I believe his final completion, that was so clutch. Over the middle. He doesn't do that. That game goes to overtime. And who the hell knows what happened at that point?
Well, we're kind of programmed to expect heartbreak when you watch Mizzou football.
So you don't want to see a Memphis loss.
When they, but when they win a game like that, it's like, you've got to be kidding me. It all worked out? It hardly ever always works out. That was what made it so special, I think.
Yeah, you were expecting that kick to get blocked and run back,
yeah,
and then the game is over.
Bad snap. Oh my God!
So the flag was that K-State had 2 number 8s on the field.
Right.
It's a shame. I understand. I don't recall. Obviously, it's an SEC network game, so you're not necessarily trotting out the A+ lineup. But I thought they did fine. I thought the color analyst was right on because K-State, I think, had 3 touchdowns called back on just absolute BS calls. The guys were already in the end zone. And it's like, it always makes me wonder when spreads are weird and strange flags are thrown. And I like that the color analyst was calling that out. But the play-by-play guy was in a tough spot because there was a flag on the field. I thought Joe Buck did a great call on the kick return or the punt return for the Jets and Bills last week by saying no flags on the field. The play-by-play guy has an obligation to say there's a flag on the field right after the kick goes through the uprights by Mevis. But as it turns out, that flag was K-State had 2 number 8s on the field.
Right.
So had Mevis missed it, Missouri would have gotten to kick it again, and it would have been a 56-yarder. So how about that? Fun fact for no one tell. But he was in a tough spot because he saw a flag, or his spotter saw a flag, and he's got an obligation to see it. So for the first 30 seconds after that ball going through, I'm thinking this is going to be brutal because they're going to have to take the teams off the field. And there's a holding call on Missouri, and God only knows what happens after this.
How is it you don't have enough different uniform jersey numbers to go around for the guys that might play?
Yeah.
I mean, from 1 to 49, you can be an eligible receiver, and from 80 to 89, you can be an eligible. There's not enough numbers in there to spread them out.
Yeah,
you're going to lose a game over that.
Offense and defense can have the same number. Like a guy who plays wide receiver and a cornerback can have the same number. They just can't be on the field at the same time. But we talk about how boneheaded the delay a game call was for Drink, but it's equally boneheaded to call a timeout and then send 2 guys out there wearing number 8 on the game-winning play.
There is so much game mismanagement at the end of games, and this isn't limited to Eli Drinkwitz. Now that would have been up there with an all-timer, and it goes without saying that had they lost the game and had that, of course, led to Mevis missing a kick that he makes. I mean, I don't know how many times he makes that, 15% of the time. And it's a 61-yarder. That is the focal point this morning. It would have been the focal point for Missouri fans, and justifiably so. So the result doesn't erase it. But the best part about it is you learn from it in a win, kind of like you learn, if they did, from Middle Tennessee State, that was a wake-up. Ideally, some Missouri fans are irritated that they're not in the top 25 yet, surprised by the spread against Memphis. The spread against Memphis, from my standpoint, is right on. I would put that right at around 7 points. Memphis is not a walkover, and Missouri is not a world beater. But Missouri, ideally, carries the momentum into St. Louis. Hopefully they can get 40,000 in there on Saturday, and go in and take care of business, beat them and beat Vanderbilt, and set the stage for what could be another setting like you had in 2010 with Oklahoma. If LSU can win their games and Missouri win their games, and LSU has Ole Miss and Arkansas, and Missouri has Memphis and Vanderbilt, get College game day to Columbia. The Red River Shootout is that same day. If Oklahoma and Texas are both undefeated, I would imagine that's where they would be, but if one of them were to stumble, and Texas had problems with Wyoming. You were making reference to these. Texas had problems with Wyoming.
Yeah.
This effing Wyoming team beat Texas Tech in week 1 and went down to Austin and held on with Texas. But that could set the stage for getting College Game Day. Either way, barring debacles the next 2 weeks, you get out of that stupid-ass 11 o'clock time slot and you get people from St. Louis and Kansas City and throughout the state down there, and you create an atmosphere where people want to go to games, and it's not an 11 o'clock thing where people go, I'm going to pass on it. You get a 2:30 or 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock kickoff, and you get Brian Kelly, and he likes to grind on recruits down there.
And you do that before the game.
That's correct. That's correct. That's what he'll do, a little 360 camera.
Right.
And you create an atmosphere, and that's what college football is about. We just haven't had all that much of it around here, with the exception of a handful of years over the last 20.
And that atmosphere, we talk about some of the confusion at the end of games. Some of that, I don't know how much, but some has to be attributed to the fact that you got a field full of players who haven't been through this. Some of them are a few months out of high school. The veterans have played a couple years is all, as opposed to an NFL team where the guys spend all day long at a training site, in classrooms and on the practice field. They don't get that kind of time in college. So there is something, I think, to the fact that they just don't have the experience that the NFL guys do to make every situation go as smoothly as you think it ought to.
Are you talking about the players?
Well, it kind of, yeah. I'd say the players.
Okay, fine, but I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
The coaches don't have that excuse,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they get frustrated sometimes that they feel like they probably have to tell the players everything in every situation, and sometimes they don't get it done. I just think that it's probably a lot easier for the NFL coaches to get everybody on the same page doing what they want them to do than it is for a college team.
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming from on that. Your thoughts are welcome. 314-881-TMA5, EDF Group text inbox. It's the Munganast 7 o'clock hour. Munganast is online at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com, and there is a secret phone number, and that number is 314-252-0029. And you can go shopping at stlouisacura.com and altontoyota.com and work with the great Jamie Burkhardt, Clayton Patterson, and Peter Munganast at Munganast St. Louis Acura and Alton Toyota, sponsor of our 7 o'clock hour. Jackson, tell the people about Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies.
Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. He's my guy. I know Doug works with him, Prod Joe works with him, and a ton of our listeners work with him. They all say the same thing. We love working with Mark Hanna because when you get on the phone with Mark Hanna, you're going to feel better getting off the phone than when you get on the phone. And to me, if you're looking for a financial advisor, something we all need, someone to help you plan for your financial future, because it can be daunting. But if you have somebody like Mark Hanna in your corner, it makes it a whole lot easier because of his ability to communicate his message to his clients. And if you need to get on the phone with Mark and change something up, you want to change your plan, what you're saving for, so many variables in life, you get on the phone with Mark Hanna, you're going to feel better getting off that call than when you got on it. And to me, that is worth everything. That's why I work with Mark Hanna. It's exactly why you should work with Mark Hanna.
314-889-0503 or go online at evergreenstl.com. And at Family Golf, we will have the TMA Hit and Giggle presented by Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbohydrates. It's 2 weeks from Friday. You play in the Hit and Giggle, and then you head on down to Columbia, Doug, and see Brian Kelly. And maybe he'll play in the Hit and Giggle, maybe the 10 o'clock.
You think he might be there?
I could see it. It's brought to you by Michelob Ultra, benefiting the Megan Meyer Foundation. Go to tmastl.com to sign up. It's Friday, October 6th at Family Golf and Learning Center. Your $55 ticket will include 9 holes, beer for Michelob Ultra, and lunch or dinner, depending on your tee time. Sign up as a threesome or sign up as an individual, and you'll be paired. Iggy will be hitting his 230-yard drive at around 2:30. I'll be gambling with the listeners in the short game area. It's all on Friday, October 6th at Family Golf and Learning Center, presented to you by Michelob Ultra. Family Golf is online at familygolfonline.com. That short game area is glorious. The turf is perfect on the driving range. Those west tees and those east tees. Ah, yes.
Tees. And you expect people to Venmo you for rolls?
Venmo for rolls. Venmo for rolls. Yeah.
Like cinnamon rolls?
Bank rolls.
Oh, bank rolls.
Bank rolls. Yeah, it'll be a short game. I'll just chip. I'll putt. It doesn't matter. Let's just see what will happen on October 6th at Family Golf and Learning Center. They're online at familygolfonline.com. Go out and get your work in, as the weather is absolutely perfect. How great is this weather, Doug? What do we got here?
Yeah, it is perfect. Another perfect week ahead, I think.
Is that what we got?
Yeah, like touching
oh my God,
80
yeah,
maybe. Yeah, low 80s most of the week.
Iggy, I don't see any precipitation through next Wednesday according to my iPhone. Now, I know your forecast is much more dialed in, but what do you got?
Just a slight chance of rain, middle of the week, but that's about it.
What do you have for an air quality index?
Good question.
This time of year, good.
It does say good.
Ragweed's kind of gone. Pollen just a little bit. This time of year with that cooler weather, that kind of goes away. But yeah, we're done with the 90s, Doug. You'll see no more 90s this year.
That's it. It's over.
Well, probably so. Yeah, it's supposed to get to 85 tomorrow and Wednesday. That's getting close. Yeah, it feels like 90 ought to be done by
low 80s. But then after that, we're probably in the 60s and 70s, and pretty soon will be jackets.
Now, did you watch the game on Saturday's bat?
I did.
Any impressions?
I can't add anything more than you guys added.
Okay.
There were a couple of times in the first half where, he passed on a 56-yard field goal and didn't go for it on 4th and 3 and just punted. I thought that was kind of dumb, but then it's amazing what happens when Drinkwitz takes the play calling out of his hands. And I think Burden has more yards in 3 games than he had all last year.
Yeah.
I believe he is approaching his total for last year. He's 50 yards short of it.
Yeah. That little swing pass was kind of an indication of what he can do.
That was sick.
Sideways pass that looked like a nothing play. And he's just so much faster than everybody else. He ran around everybody.
So elusive.
And he's got unbelievable vision, too. It was a great block up in front of him as well.
Yeah, there was.
That was a world-class block. But to Drink's credit, and maybe it's more Kirby Moore, but going for it on 4th and goal there had to be done. Had to be done. And against Middle Tennessee State, that was the kind of plays he was either kicking field goals or punting on. So huge credit, because if you don't have that Brady Cook good gadget play thing there, the whole game changes.
I would like to see them add a little bit, at least one running back who's a little bit bigger than Schrader and Pete. Like when you need 3rd and 1 or down around the goal line, just somebody that's got a little bit of weight behind him.
Yeah. I mean,
I think every
Pete's
team
pretty
needs
strong. Pete can, Schrader's strong too, but Pete is a big boy.
Yeah, but nothing
He's not
compared to
tall.
the guys they're trying to score against.
Sure.
Some of the guys are 100 pounds heavier. I think it'd be great to have a battering ram type running back that you can put in there.
You like Ironhead Hayward?
Yeah, just a couple plays a game. I think every team would want that.
How about Mevis? Just throw Mevis in the back.
Well, he may not be fast enough, but somewhere on that team, you got a defensive end or a middle linebacker or something, or a tight end who could take a handoff and probably get you a yard.
Darius Robinson probably could.
Yeah.
Brian Henshin poses this question. Was Cook being booed before the game? I thought that was the cause of Drink's comments. A number of people who were at the game says that just was not the case. But here is what Eli Drinkwitz, Plowhawk, I don't know if you have this one. It is, let's see, Jackson lists it as clip 4, Drink as banty as I've ever seen him on Mizzou fans booing Brady Cook before the game. Here it is.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say it. It pissed me off when we booed our starting quarterback to start the game. That pissed me off.
I like that twang.
And he went out there and played his butt off for this university and this team. They need to get behind him. We need to get behind the young man. You want to boo me, fine. You don't boo the starting quarterback. It's bull crap.
Oh.
I'll say it again. It should never happen.
Well, I agree with him.
Damn, he was.
Did you hear the boos?
I didn't. I read that when he was introduced that there was a smattering of boos. That's all. I just read about it.
But then the people were at the game were saying, no, they were booing Drinkwitz.
Oh,
nice. And that's who you should be.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So I don't know. So if anybody was there, because I've read, now again, these are fans on, take your pick of whatever, so who knows what's accurate. It's like a New York Post article somewhere saying on Twitter, I don't know. But they're saying, I don't know what he's all upset about. We were at the game, and nobody booed Brady Cook. There were boos at the end of the game, and there's no doubt in my mind what people were booing, the delay of game penalty, and understandably so. Mm-hmm. Now here's what Brady Cook had to say about the boos.
Oh, okay. Hit the lever.
I hear it. It's hard. This is my dream school. All I want to do is play quarterback here. I'd like if everyone else wanted me to play quarterback here too. That'd be a nice feeling, and games like this probably could help. So I'm excited about that.
He's absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
Freaking love this kid.
I do agree about the notion you should not be booing the starting quarterback. You should not be booing your own players, college players no less, when they run onto the field. That's out of line.
You never booed Tony Bank.
No. The only thing
his dog Felony.
Yeah, the only thing I think you can boo is a lack of effort. If a guy's just being introduced or he makes a bad play, throws an interception, that's not a boo. If they're not trying, then I think you can boo. But nobody tries to play poorly.
Was Drink interviewed before or after Cook, do you know?
Probably before. Usually the coach talks first.
All right, well, I guarantee you Brady Cook didn't even know they were booing him, but he heard his coach say they were booing him, so he had to answer the question.
Larry Thornton, and I'm a lemming of Larry Thornton's, Doug. He says, I didn't hear any boos for Cook. I think Drink is doing the Dion thing, trying to create an us versus the world mentality. That is from Larry Thornton. It's
but he's aiming at his own fan base.
Yeah.
It's not a Dion thing, and Dion like to rile up the other fan base. Like Drink kind of pissing off his own, yeah.
Or Drink is covering his own ass. They were booing him, and he just said, don't do it to my quarterback. Well, they were booing you. Boo me if you want. Well, they were.
I think it was an opportunity he saw to show to recruits that he's always going to back his guys, and that clip's going to go viral, and it could get brownie points with some recruits. I think it was blown out of proportion, and it was an opportunity that Drink saw.
It's even kind of odd to boo the head coach when you're 2-0, isn't it?
After that Middle Tennessee State game, all was warranted.
Horn's definitely transferring, right? Or just going to focus on baseball? Because Cook's going to play another year, next year, right? I mean, he's not an NFL player.
Well, you never know. He almost got knocked out of the game Saturday.
As a running quarterback with a knee issue, I'm anxious to see what his condition is going into this week.
True.
But Horn got in there for 2 snaps and thought that might have been a good opportunity, as you made reference to just throw it deep and see what would happen.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
But I thought it stood out to me, for me personally, this is only me, but when Chase Daniel, who has no reason to say anything otherwise, was saying, I was in camp and I saw it, and he's clearly the guy, that comment stood out to me. Just based on what we had seen in the first 2 games, it didn't look like that. But again, I know we talked about it last Monday, the play calling. And so then you're sitting there going, okay, I guess they intentionally didn't show much in the first 2 games. And I suppose, why would you? And then I read an interview with the K-State, I guess it was their defensive coordinator, so we don't really know who we're preparing for because we wonder if they had been sitting on the playbook the first couple of weeks. And I asked Gabe about that. And I also thought the same thing that Gabe thought, which is, it's one thing to sit on the playbook. It's another thing if you're in a tight game with Middle Tennessee, you go, okay, we got to bail. We got to use our plays here because we can't afford to lose this game. But based on the way they came out and that playbook was clearly opened up, I believe that was strategic. And you got to give credit to the coaching staff for that. And that starts with Eli Drinkwitz. Your thoughts are welcome, 314-881-TMA5. And you can call in 636-9004-TMA. Email in for our design, air, heating, and cooling email today, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Doug, take a look at this new shirt I'm wearing. What do you think?
I see it. Looks like the flag of St. Louis.
Oh, that is nice.
Yeah, with the TMA logo in the middle of it. It is available for you at TMASTLshop.com, along with our other new wares. TMASTLshop.com is where you can find all of these in both hoodies and T-shirts. It's all there for you, and you get 10% off at TMASTLshop.com when you check out. It's TMASTLshop.com. This T-shirt with the City of St. Louis flag and the TMA logo in there, where the do you say fleur-de-lis or do you say fleur-de-lis?
I say fleur-de-lis.
But if we were French, would we say fleur-de-lis?
I don't think you'd say.
What if you were Dutch?
What if you were Dutch?
Oh, you'd say Van fleur-de-lis, I guess.
There we go, yeah.
It's all available. TMASTLshop.com. Let's see what the people are saying in the text inbox. The only reason I can't root for Mizzou is because Elijah is a tool and I got a townie pregnant in Champaign, Illinois. That's from the recovering alcoholic from Belleville.
Remember we called them townies when we were in Columbia? If you go to a bar and you see someone that's not a student, oh my God, that's a townie.
Weren't they called cutters in Bloomington, Indiana, and it was the basis for the film Breaking Away? Am I correct on that?
I don't remember
Somebody, Dennis Quaid. Am I correct on that?
I don't remember. Cutters? What sense does that make?
I don't know. That's what they call them in Bloomington because they can't call them Hoosiers.
Oh, and something else. I saw that Beavis has got some
Beavis and Butthead.
Mevis has got some copyright, and he
On the
spells
Thicker Kicker?
Yeah, he spells it Thicker. It's not Ticker.
That's how the kids are saying it.
What difference does that make?
Because the thicker you are, the more C's you get in thick.
Think about that.
Yeah, but what happened to the K?
They took it out.
I can't. The entomology of it all. I
like that entomology. Bring that out at bring that out at 10:01.
I truly think that's
they'd
the
scream, 'cause I don't
perfect way
even
to
know what that
describe
means.
it. But yeah, that's what social media era. I don't know what you want me to do about it, but that is true. Yeah, he's got that and Money Mevis. I don't know if Money Mevis is going to stick, but Thicker Kicker rules.
Money Mevis, he does miss some.
But I think the confidence
you know what I mean?
thing for him. is
Jackson,
like, yes.
entomology is a study of insects.
No, I think what's the study of? Isn't the study of the progression of words? Is
It's
it
not
ET?
entomology because I used to work in a bug spray factory, and one of the guys there was one of the guys there was an entomologist. So when you said that,
Etymology. Etymology.
Okay.
Etymology. Sorry. Etymology is what I meant to say. The study of
dumb it
origin
down
of
for
words and the way in which their meanings
See, we
are
try to use a big fancy word, and it backfires on us.
Etymology. Thank you, everybody. But the thing on the Mevis thing is like from 61 yards when you're talking about like confidence, he's free rolling. If he misses it, he's expected to miss a 61-yarder. If he makes it, he's the hero.
It's like standing
raise him
over
up.
a driver with on a 300. You got to somehow hit it 280 or 300, whatever the hell it was a long shot for you. But it's a wide open fairway. You just absolutely haul back, and nobody's expecting you to do it.
Yeah.
That frees you up. I'm telling you, that kick, and you've talked about it, Jackson, at Auburn, it was a 20-yarder. He kicks that, they win the game, and I think that still has demons for him on the short kicks. But, he got a chance to kick a longer field goal earlier in the game, and it was like a knuckleball that nearly cut back in.
Yeah.
But this thing was a missile. And the look on that K-State, the second number 8 who was in the end zone, as that thing sailed over, just absolute shock. I mean, they were getting ready for overtime on the K-State sidelines, and understandably so.
Absolutely, yeah. But then they would have got a second chance at it.
Yeah, you're right.
Shorter.
Because of 2 number 8s out
I saw someone on Twitter say it would have been the most incredible ending had Mevis missed it short. The guy runs it back 108 yards to win, and then they retry and Mevis nails it.
Or he made it, and the fans didn't know there was a penalty, and you'd probably had to replay that an hour and a half later.
Oh, my God.
They take the goalpost out?
That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
Take the goalpost
That's what I was thinking was going to happen.
Replant 'em in.
And it would have just been the ultimate textbook Mizzou North End Zone debacle. Let's see. How did we not know Doug worked at a bug spray factory? That's from Steve and Wildwood Dougie's a chairman.
Oh, it was a summer job in college. It was down there near Family Golf, that industrial complex back there. Mm-hmm. And I was on the assembly line for a bug spray factory. Just a summer job.
Lavish.
Yeah.
Why didn't you stay there?
Well, it was a summer job in college.
Lack of exposure.
Yeah, you always want
The
exposure.
exposure was not good.
Not like full pran
Exposure
building.
to DEET, maybe.
What were you putting together? Cans?
Yeah, the cans would come down the assembly line, and a machine would spray the product into it, and we'd put the little sprayer in there, and then someone would put the top on it, and someone put the label on it. Kind of a mind-numbing job, but I mean, it paid pretty well at the time. Probably paid $2.50 an hour. So I was walking tall cotton. That's what jobs paid back then.
Kind of a humble brag.
Yeah.
And now you have robots doing all that.
Yeah, probably. Probably, yeah. But we had an entomologist there. That's when Jackson said that. I said, that didn't sound right.
It's my apologies. Etymology is what I was looking
Okay.
at. Is what I was meant to say.
Okay.
Guys, we didn't know that Doug worked in a insect factory because he doesn't repeat his stories 200 times. That's from Mr. Liz.
Oh.
You know who's happy in the YouTube chat?
No.
Nate in Tallahassee.
Really?
Ew.
Yeah, I know. I'm uncomfortable with it.
His club is undefeated?
Maybe we'll get that Florida State Missouri matchup that we could have had in 2013 after all.
Yeah.
I picked Florida State to win it all this year.
You did. Congratulations to all Mizzou fans on that awesome win against a ranked team. It's nice to see the day is so happy. Is that the real Nate in Tallahassee?
It can't be. You know what else I noticed? They had a shot of the Mizzou sideline. Sam Horn had his helmet off. He looked just like Jackson with longer hair.
Yeah. My guy doesn't need St. Louis hair restoration at the moment. Looks like Sunshine.
Yeah.
Remember the Titans? He's got hell of a
like
head of hair.
Sunshine? Was that...
We just watched that the other day.
Is that Jake Gyllenhaal? No, it wasn't Jake Gyllenhaal. Ryan Gosling.
No, he was the DB who was gettable. He was I can't remember who played Sunshine.
I'm looking it up now. Kip Purdue.
Oh, Kip Purdue.
Or was Ronnie Bass with the character name.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like that, but...
Tim, that's fake Nate in the YouTube. There's a fake Nate in Tallahassee in the YouTube.
I've thought of that. I've always wondered
He doesn't
if
have
that
any
is...
sort of clout, and he gets a fake name. Ugh.
Well, to be fair, we had a fake Arbor Day trying to win Lager Tequila.
Well, at least you're trying to win a nice tequila.
There was a fake drinkwitz in the crowd. Did you see that shot of the crowd of the Mizzou section? There was some kid there.
Dressed
had
up like Drinkwitz?
He dressed just like Drinkwitz. Yeah, he had the visor and he had the headset on. He looked just like him, cheering, acting crazy. It was a nice look.
My buddy said Drink is in desperate need of a strategic beard. It's got a little...
Oh, is that the jawline theory?
Yeah.
The Ali Marmol jawline theory?
Yeah, he needs a strategic beard badly. But
So why do you grow a beard if you like have a second chin? Is that the deal?
Well, yeah, some people just don't have like a very defined jawline, or they've eaten a little bit and the jawline.
They've eaten a little bit.
The jawline's kind of sunk into the rest of the neck, and so you grow a beard to kind of create a jawline, a la Ali Marmol.
He's one cigar away from growing a third chin. Right?
He's not that fat.
No, but it's all kind of collected right under the chin. So maybe a strategic beard, but much like me, he has similar hair color and also a crown problem. Maybe he cannot grow a beard. That's my thought.
Well, he's 40 years old and making $6 million a year. I think he's pretty much got things figured out. Beard or no beard. Wouldn't we all like to be in his situation?
Yes.
Bless me.
Who's that?
Sneeze.
I thought you were laughing at Doug's statement.
Wasn't that funny?
I thought it was a drop.
Just a sneeze.
It was a fantastic Saturday. I wish I'd been there. I wish I'd gone.
Were you watching it at home?
Yeah, watched every second of it.
God, it was just such a great game. You just don't see college football games.
In fact, I didn't see games at all earlier because they were blacked out.
Yeah, it's true. But just in general.
There weren't a ton of good games. I mean, Boston College came back. That was decent, but I mean, the Colorado State game was a great game.
Yeah, did you guys by the time? But I thought what happened with Travis Hunter. I mean, sometimes guys will inadvertently get kicked out for a full game because of targeting, and it's not malicious, and that was absolutely malicious, that hit on Travis Hunter in the Colorado State game.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
And, I mean, so he's out for a while. Totally, I mean, if he's not their best player, he's one of their best players. He plays on offense and defense. And it materially alters the next couple of weeks in which they go to Oregon and they're at home against USC, and that was just a 100% garbage cheap shot.
Defenseless.
Colorado State allowed that crap that Colorado does, which, whether you like it, whether you don't, they got 10 personal fouls.
Yeah.
Well played on managing your emotions. Marks. All you were marks for Colorado. Marks. But the thing is, when you're doing that crap and you're injuring a guy like that, that is absolute BS. The ball had already hit the ground when he hit him.
That was one of the dirtier hits I've ever seen. And it honestly kind of maybe upset me. Like the whole Colorado bench is right there, and they just stand there. And
they didn't just stand there.
Well, Shadae Sanders was the first one to get to him. He was the guy who threw the ball.
What are you supposed to do? Come off the bench and get a penalty?
Yeah, but like the rest
of the
team.
The coaches were yelling at him, but I mean, they didn't come off the bench. If anything, it shows discipline on the part of Colorado. And then Shadae Sanders runs down there and gets in the guy's face.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But like guys on the field, like I felt like everyone. I don't know. I feel like if that happens other places, the
officials lost that game, and they should have done something.
Oh, yeah,
you see at the beginning of the game, there was jawing between Sanders and, because I guess he had some things to say, but, I guess the coach said something about take your hat off and sunglasses about Dion, and then he got into it and said, well, just keep talking about us, meaning we're going to kick your ass again when people talk about us. And they were at midfield, they were pushing and shoving before the game even started. The officials should have got them together and said, look, this ain't going to happen. This stuff starts happening, people are going to start kicking people out.
Yeah.
It just went on the entire game.
It used to happen before almost every Miami Hurricane game.
Yeah, I know. Miami and Notre Dame was
somebody.
Getting fights in that famous game in 1988.
Did you guys happen to see any of the Alabama game?
They had a rain issue.
I tried to watch it, but they had some kind of major technical problem with the TV.
Oh, they had rain everywhere.
Once they had such bad storms in Tampa that they had to remove the cameras from the normal wells, so they had to run it like with that Oklahoma State Gallagher-Iba camera that's like just from
Yeah, they
a
had one
satellite?
from the end zone, upper deck, very top of the stadium from the end zone, and another like upper deck at the 50-yard line. But they couldn't zoom in. They weren't following the action. It was really bizarre.
It didn't make any sense because they let the fans back in and the game started, but they said they haven't cleared the cameramen to go back in yet. So there was nobody manning cameras.
Right. But for what TV pays them to broadcast these games and really supply the money for college football, you'd think they would supply them with a spot inside the press box maybe so that the weather isn't a factor for at least one of the cameramen? So at least somebody can be there at the 50-yard line following every play? Is that hard to figure out?
They took them out of the stadium.
Well, they shouldn't. They took them out
They
because
had
they
to.
were out in the
It was
elements.
for safety.
The cameras
It was
were
safety.
right. The cameras were in the elements. I'm saying at least one ought not to be out in the elements. Kick somebody out of the press box and make room for the camera that millions of people are trying to watch.
Yeah, it was a boring game anyway. You didn't miss anything.
Well, I wanted to see Alabama lose. That's why I hate watch Alabama. And I wanted to see them get upset.
Another thing on cameras, how come at Faroe Field we can't get camera operators to follow the game? Like, I feel like every single game there's a throw that just stays on the quarterback and we don't see the action. Like, at least once a game. I don't know if it's something about Faroe Field or something with the SEC network, but I feel like every game it happens. And they were showing the LSU game while the Mizzou audio was on.
That happened for a while. Well, remote cameras have been a thing for years. You can't get one or two remote cameras that don't require a camera operator somewhere undercover so that when a game is on network TV, it can't continue to be shown? That blows my mind that's where they are. Looks like something that would have happened in the 1960s.
Yeah, I'd like to have Booger McFarland on his roving camera going back and forth, making a fool of himself.
I don't know what that...
Remember that on Monday Night Football?
Yeah, he had like a little...
They put Booger McFarland up in like some roving camera. I'm down here in the 40.
That was one of the worst ideas. I think ESPN... I mean, that says a lot.
That's what that led to them paying a lot of money to get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman because they were tired of the tryout process.
Oh, my God.
I just can't imagine how hard it would be to get at least one remote-controlled camera undercover that you could continue to show the game. Maybe they'll do it now because that was completely unacceptable.
Well, it was weather, Doug.
Well, I know it's weather, but there's places where you can take the weather out of it.
That happens once every,
It should never
9
happen.
games to a team.
It can never happen because it's too easy to prevent it.
We were talking about fans storming the field. I get why they did it at Mizzou. I don't understand Colorado. You're a 15th ranked team in the country playing an unranked team. You're a 25-point favorite and you storm the field after a victory.
I think after those hits and cheap shots from Colorado State, I think of more of the fans shoving it in Colorado State's face. I didn't like, I'm not a huge fan of storming the field, but I think they did that out of just pissing off the Colorado State players.
Now that it's kind of a thing to storm the field, it could be every time you kind of have a walk-off win like that, the field is going to be stormed.
Yeah.
I save them for later in the year, because you never know what teams are at the time, Yeah,
but the mob mentality doesn't think that way.
True.
Well, there's so many celebrities down on Colorado's sideline that they want to storm the field and hope they can meet the Rock or something.
That was sick. What Colorado is doing is so fun. Like,
people are watching, man.
This is what the NIL is all about.
It's such a shame that a cheap shot is. I mean, if they can win at Oregon and at home against USC without Travis Hunter, then holy crap, because that guy could be in the mix or would have been in the mix. I don't think he will be now because he's going to miss a lot of time for the Heisman Trophy. He's an offensive star, he's a defensive star, and now he's not going to be able to play because of that crap. I mean, that is brutal. And the head coach of Colorado State, Mike Norvell, is that right? Or is that the head coach at Florida State?
I think it's Jay Norvell.
Jay Norvell?
Yeah.
I get what he was doing, and then their whole thing is blue collar, and they show up to work, and that was what he was doing and talking to his team, and then Colorado got it and then used it, and that's fine. That's all part of the psychology. As we've said, Kirby Smart last year told his team that they were disrespected throughout the year, even though they were number one throughout the year. But so whatever games you got to play, fine. But the head coach of Colorado State, you want to talk about coaching malpractice and Drinkwitz's delay a game, to have that many personal fouls and just lose control in a game that you should have won without that crap going on. I mean, that's coaching malpractice. 314-881-TMA5, 636-9004 TMA, and email in the morning after at InsideSTL.com. If you're injured in an accident, things can spiral out of control quickly. You might have medical bills piling up. You might not be able to work or provide for your family, and you're probably getting the runaround from the insurance company you've been talking to. Do not fight this fight alone. C.D. Longo and Doug Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm will take all the complication and hassle out of your injury claim. They will deal with the insurance company and take the fight head on, allowing you to get back to what's important, which is recovering from your injuries. They are TMA listeners, they are local, and they will be the ones handling your case. They're trial lawyers, meaning they won't settle if there's an obstacle or complication in your case. In fact, most cases have them, and Doug and CD will overcome those obstacles and take your case all the way to trial if necessary. It's Longo Biggs Injury Law, online at longobiggs.com. LONGOBIGGS.com. Longo Biggs Injury Law accepts personal injury, wrongful death, brain injury, and other catastrophic injury cases. Remember, the choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements. Send your emails in for our design, air, heating, and cooling email of the day, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Seth Goldcamp and his staff will take great care of you. Make the switch to Design Air if you haven't already. Whenever you run into problems with your heating and cooling system, make sure that you go to DesignAirService.com and you're working with Design Air Heating and Cooling. Seth is fourth generation Design Air Heating and Cooling, and those service techs will be out there quick, fast, in a hurry with no upselling. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at DesignAirService.com, the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. And Doug is a client, and I am a client, and we couldn't be happier clients than we are with Design Air Heating and Cooling, online at DesignAirService.com, the official HVAC provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. Send your emails in. Current standings for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the month. JV Golf Coach with 5 wins, Buck Swope with 2, Shooter McGavin with 1, Ellen Foley with 1, and there's that Tinky Monster. It won.
Just lurking.
Dangerous Tinky Monster. Gabe DeArmond will be with us at 9 o'clock, brought to you by James Carlton. James will be in studio as well. James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. That's at 9 o'clock. Design Air Heating and Cooling email of the day coming your way at 9:45. Warson Woods Wacko is making demands for Stephen Wildwood to send him money. He has sent that in many times. I don't know if I don't know what the situation is with that, Doug, but I think I have some insight and I can explain it, but I'll do it on the other side of the commercial break.
Color me teased.
It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro in the morning after on KPNT HD2. You're hearing TMA all day on KPNT HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis, featuring the Ryan Kelly Morning After, live from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. Then a full show replay from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., followed by the best of TMA from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m., and another same-day replay starting at 10 p.m. Find the full schedule at TMASTL.com. Brought to you by Ryan Kelly at thehomeloanexpert.com, the most efficient mortgage process you'll ever experience.
Here's Action Jackson with 3 more ways to get TMA content.
Get the TMA mobile app and enable notifications so you don't miss a thing. See our content on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And stream us on the TMA mobile app and at TMASTL.com.
Thanks, Jackson. It's the Ryan Kelly Morning After on 105.7 FM HD2.
I'm Tim McKernan here with Action Jackson talking to you about Mark Hanna. TMA listeners have a lot to think through financially, whether it be saving up for their child's education or planning for their own retirement and everything in between.
Whether you're like me and just getting started with your financial planning or you're already retired, call Mark Hanna.
It all starts with a 15-minute phone call to discuss your needs and design the right strategy for you and your future.
Visit evergreenstl.com or give Mark a call at 314-889-0503 today. Mark Hanna offers securities through Equitable Advisors and insurance and annuity products through Equitable Network, LLC.
Illinois Recovery Center is the new premier inpatient substance abuse facility in Swansea, Illinois. When it comes to the disease of addiction, getting help should not be as difficult as it currently is. The Illinois Recovery Center's mission is to be the receiving hand in the community when someone seeks help. The IRC delivers a comprehensive system of care that welcomes both the individual struggling and family alike. If you or someone you know wants to learn about the Illinois Recovery Center, please call 888-472-9559 or email info@illinoisrecoverycenter.com.
Biggie's Restaurant and Bar has been a staple of the community for over 30 years and is serving your favorites like the steak sandwich, waffle fries, and so much more. It's not just the food that's rocking. With a full bar and patio, Biggie's is the perfect spot for lunch, dinner, and a little laughter. Biggie's original hours are back. Open 11 a.m. till midnight, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And 11 a.m. till 1 a.m. on Friday and Saturday. Check out the full menu at biggiesrestaurant.com and stop in today.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Doug Biggs from the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm, and I want to talk to you about what happens when you get in a car accident. Hopefully most of you never will be, but if you are, the first few days after an accident can be critical. Unfortunately, from the moment your case begins, the insurance company is going to be working against you, trying to minimize their payout. You're probably going to get a call from an adjuster who seems nice, who seems worried about your well-being, but what they're actually trying to do is get a statement from you to use against you later. Insurance companies have specialized systems and thousands of workers who follow a playbook to pay you as little money as possible. At Longo Biggs Injury Law, we know the playbook and we can fight back. If you or a loved one is injured in an accident, visit our website or Google Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
When we think of a real estate agent, we think of somebody simply selling our home or finding us a new one. I mean, they're all the same, right?
Okay, here's the comps. We'll take some pics, we'll post them, and I'll get back to you, okay?
A home is life-changing, and your real estate agent should reflect that. Honesty, integrity, and someone who will go above and beyond to make your dreams come true.
The Jeff Lotman Group with Compass Realty. We're different because you're different. We want what you want. Experience the difference today at jefflotman.com, bringing people and properties together.
With the fall's cool weather upon us, we hope you'll let Lee May Concrete Block help you with all your landscaping projects. We have been a locally owned and operated manufacturer since 1947, priding ourselves on the quality of our products and the customer service we provide. Lee May Block offers a complete line of fireplaces, outdoor living kits, decorative retaining wall blocks, ready-mix concrete, masonry block, as well as concrete parking curbs and air conditioning slabs. Please come visit our showroom off South Broadway at 326 East Courtois or visit us online at leemayblock.com.
All right, here we go. Here's something new. Announcing the first ever TMA Hit and Giggle. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Benefiting the Megan Meyer Foundation. Friday, October 6th at Family Golf and Learning Center. It's a 9-hole par 3 tournament full of threesomes. Oh, geez. And it's a walking course, so if you're a walrus, start getting in shape. Your $55 ticket includes 9 holes, beer from Mich Ultra, and lunch or dinner depending on your tee time. Plus shipping and putting contest for our degenerate gamblers. You'll also get to see Iggy's Long Drive Challenge. Brought to you by Souter Appraisal. Can he hit it 210, 220, maybe 223? Who knows? But it should be a fun day no matter what. The first ever TMA Hit and Giggle. Brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Better than ever for you, their customer. And Family Golf and Learning Center. They make St. Louis better at golf. Visit familygolfonline.com. Tickets are on sale now. Get all of the Hit and Giggle info now at tmastl.com.
I spent 4 years in San Francisco.
The Ryan Kelly Morning After.
KPN-TFM, HD2.
Collinsville, St. Louis.
It's great perspective from William Gilman. It's Ryan Kelly Morning After. Welcome back, friends. Michelob Ultra Studios. My name is Tim McKernan. That's Doug Vaughn. That's Darren Atkins. And in his Horton Watkins studios is Jackson Burkett. Ken Strode is got a first quarter financials meeting as we're working on projections for the first quarter of 2024.
I wonder if they'll ever hold those at a time when we're not on the air.
He's trying to lock down Purina long term, so it's gonna you gotta have those meetings.
Purina, is that what he's working? I didn't know he was selling too. He's CFO and director of sales.
Well, he knows people all over the world.
The text line is very active this morning. 314-881-TMA5 EDF group text inbox. The entire first hour on Missouri's win in college football. For those of you who hate that, Doug, the second hour will open back up to nonsense here.
No.
And Big Tough sent this text in. Do you know Big Tough, Doug?
No, I don't.
Big Tough. Hey, guys, enough about Mizzou. How did Timmy play against the Warson Woods Wacko on Friday?
Oh.
He probably set the course record. Thanks. That's from Big Tuft. And then the Warson Woods Wacko. Did you get your gong striker back?
No, I got a pin back. The striker did come back. Look at
wow.
this. Oh,
that's a better strike.
God, it's nice
it's
to
a cleaner
have
strike.
It's back.
Warson Woods Wacko has sent in, I think 6 times, text demanding money from Stephen Wildwood. So here's the situation, Doug, and I don't know how they're going to determine it.
No, I don't.
So I played with my partner on Friday against the Warson Woods Wacko and his partner.
I'm sure you did.
At the Warson Woods Wacko's, what do you call it, track?
I don't say track, no. Course.
And Stephen Wildwood, who's chairman, texted me and said he wanted to put X number of dollars on my side.
Oh, he did.
Against the Warson Woods Wacko and his partner.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't know how you determine a winner. And that's between them because I wasn't involved in that wager. And here's why. Why? Well, we played a NASA. And for those who don't play or don't gamble when they play, let's say it's a $10 bet on the front 9, and whoever wins the most holes in the front 9, a $10 bet on the back 9, and then a $10 bet on the overall. And was Stephen Wildwood betting that we would win money? If so, then Stephen Wildwood won.
Mm-hmm.
Was Stephen Wildwood betting the Warson Woods Wacko that we would win the overall? Well, if that's the case, then the Warson Woods Wacko won.
Mm-hmm.
But because we had, I believe, 4 presses on the 18th hole, and we were victorious on the 18th hole, we won money. But the Warson Woods Wacko's pairing, I think, won overall, didn't win money, lost money, but won the overall NAS 2-up. So, Doug, you are the judge. You work with Jay Monahan and Yasser Al-Ramayan in the PIF. You're ruling.
I'd say it's a wash. Nobody gets nothing.
Wow.
Nobody gets nothing. That's what I'd say.
Yeah, I don't think presses should count. I mean, they won, I guess, the back 9 in the total, or the front 9 in the total.
They won the front 9. I think we pushed the back 9 NAS, and they won the total. Now, I was giving the Warson Woods Wacko 18 pops, so I had to give him a stroke on every hole. And I think I gave his partner 13. You call them poppy seeds?
I don't. You do.
14 poppy seeds. My partner was probably getting, did you call them 8 poppy seeds?
I don't call them that.
8 or 9 poppy seeds. But Warson Woods Wacko. Doug, let's pull up numbers.
No, for heaven's sakes.
Doug, look at the graph.
What course?
Algonquin.
Okay.
Number 16, par 5. And, I mean...
No water in front?
No, long par 5. Tough to get there in 2, and you have to certainly hit it in the right spot off the tee to even have the chance. Can't be blocked out on the right, Doug.
No,
If you're in
not
the rough at Algonquin, just as you've said before, it is so penal. And Warson Woods Wacko's, what does it say on the shot tracer? 74 yards out.
In 4?
In 2, and he stuck it. He nearly eagled the hole, and he birdied it for a net eagle. And all of a sudden, me and my partner are looking at each other like,
You were flustered.
where did this come from?
Yeah. He's a sandbagger.
I don't think so.
He'd still beat Licks.
He'd still beat Mr. Licks?
Yeah, even with an 18 handicap, he'd beat Licks.
So we're supposed to have a rematch this Friday. Stephen Wildwood can get whole if he loses the if he loses this bet, however they decide to settle it, I'll let them handle that.
Okay.
Because that wasn't established.
Going to your home course?
Scheduled to.
For a rematch?
Scheduled to. It's a home-and-home series.
Oh.
If you want to go out there and
Okay.
watch.
Well, I won't. Not doing anything, but I won't go there.
All your holes open?
I'm always...
Depends on how much alcohol he's had.
No, I mean the course.
Oh.
Isn't this when they aerate the greens usually?
It is.
Most courses?
Yes. Not most courses. She played Greenbrier with the Betts family yesterday. It was nice because I scheduled to play with them at my home course, since they're clients. And then because ours wasn't necessarily optimal as far as the situation, the Betts family was kind enough to take me to their course, even though they're the clients.
Oh.
So, anyway, and got to play the worst one. So I'm just America's guest, Doug. That's who I am.
Well, that's
if
a good thing
if you're
to
a
be.
country club member, I will come and play with you. And I will play in your member
So that
guest.
offer's out there.
Yes, that's out there now. It's nice.
A lot of them open today. Maybe somebody can get you out there and just wide open on Mondays.
Hey, wacko, maybe skip out on your $200 dues for a couple months and you won't be so hard up for money. And before you say something dumb like, oh, well, at least I belong to a club, let me remind you that you aren't one of the big three clubs and won't ever be one of the big three. You're a mid. That's from Mr. Licks. Doug, what does that mean? You're a mid. And he said it in caps, too.
I just don't know.
Well, again, he belongs to a club and you don't. So he can take the family out for a nice dinner and enjoy the clubhouse, and you can't.
Oh, I was trying to think if there's any country club in St. Louis that I haven't played yet, at least once in my life.
The Log?
Yeah, that'd be one.
Bogey?
Yeah.
Not the St.
You own
Charles
that
one.
land.
Yeah.
Oh, your family owns the Log Cabin Land?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I've not played there, but I think everywhere else.
Bogey?
At least once. No, I haven't played Bogey or Log Cabin.
I think I have.
Those are secret courses.
Log Cabin I haven't played. Every other one I think I've played.
I wouldn't be allowed on a lot of them. I played
You'd be
enough,
allowed?
more than what I thought I would ever play in terms of private courses in my life. So
Worse than
I'm
what's wacko says they just settled the bet. He also says, Licks, just die already. But then he said Stephen Wildwood has rolled the bet to Friday, double or nothing.
Ooh.
So he lost?
I guess Stephen Wildwood is saying he lost. I would agree with that, but I didn't want to say that because if they won the overall 18, I would say that they won.
Yeah, I would not money won because you don't know about a bunch of presses. Steve doesn't know about.
If it would have been said whoever winds up winning money, I want to be on Tim's side.
Yeah, but I think
the Orson Woods wacko had a putt on 18 that was for a material amount of money.
Missed.
He did, but it wasn't like it was like a 2-foot, piss the bed miss. It was like probably like a 8-10 footer.
Yeah, I've done that.
Done what?
Missed 8 to 10 footers to win matches.
I would imagine everybody has who's played. That's Rich coming from the guy who gets his Pro V1 balls just hanging out on Barry Road waiting for balls to go out of bounds at both the clubs he doesn't belong to. Doug, that's from Hall of Famer Carlos Spicy.
Yeah, not a bad way to get some golf balls. Just hang out
so
along
Mr.
Barry
Licks
Road?
hangs out on Barry Road waiting for balls?
I guess it's possible. There's probably balls that bounce on that road every now and then. Probably every day, right?
You probably. Well, I used to do it. But you sneak on courses on Mondays. I used to do it at Old Warson.
You snuck onto Old Warson on a Monday.
Well, not really sneaking. It was, just go up Warson Road and just go through the houses and
walking through the houses.
Housing projects. What I was about to be said.
We're not going to ride our bikes up to the clubhouse.
How old were you at this point?
I don't know, 14, 15.
Okay.
And then we just go to the lake and we go diving for balls.
You actually dove into the water. Open your eyes in that dirty lake.
Hold on a second. Glove blogger Tom Praven says, here comes the story of fishing for golf balls in the pot at Old Orson.
Gosh, why don't I remember it?
Well, that's what I was talking about.
It's quite obvious at this point someone is being lied to.
It's not a lie.
Did you have a mask on?
Yeah, we'd have
Glove
a mask.
blogger Tom Traven, your account will be credited.
You can't see anyway.
And would you get a free bottle of tequila?
That's correct. You get a bottle of tequila if you predict the story.
So how did you see the golf balls? You guys just feel around on the bottom of the mud?
Because in front of this par 3 it was water, and it's kind of mud. So you kind of just go into the mud and you just feel, and you grab the balls and you just throw them up. Me and my friend Gary Cruz, we would do the diving.
Where was Lipsitz?
I didn't know ellipsis then.
Oh.
And then my brother would stand up.
Guard,
you know,
watching.
No, but we'd throw the balls to him, and then he'd go wash them.
Oh. So how many would you get?
Oh, there's some Mondays we get about 60 or 70.
Really?
Yeah, then we go back home and we'd take turns picking which ones we wanted.
What'd you do with the others?
Like a draft. Well, you take them all, but, you know, by the time you get to the end balls, you got crow flights and some other crap in there. So.
And no one at the course saw you doing that and shooed you away?
No. Every once in a while, you'd see the maintenance guys cutting grass, but they didn't say anything. They just let us go.
Being alone and horny, and also quite impressed by the XL veiny monster I had in my hands.
No, no.
Oh, no!
Don't look in the box.
She did not use her mom's.
I like that guy.
He didn't. Then we go craw. Then we go to the back where there was a spring. There was like a fountain and a spring. We go crawdad fishing.
Huh. Did you ever go noodling?
No. I don't want some catfish grabbing my arm.
Yeah,
that's an interesting way to catch a fish.
I wouldn't do that. How do you know that's not a snake that's going to be in there?
Clip that off.
And catfish can bite, right? And hurt.
Oh, they tear your arm up, boy.
So why would people want to do that?
It's a sport. A lot of Oklahoma. A lot in Oklahoma.
I saw one yesterday. A guy pulled a 75-pound catfish out of noodling.
Really?
Oh, yeah, you can.
Oh, it was a girl, actually. A girl did it.
Just right out of the bank, or just right out of the water?
Dude, they're mostly in the bank. There's holes underneath the water in the bank, so you feel it out with your foot is what you're supposed to do. And put your foot in the hole, you feel the fish, and then you take a deep breath and stick your arm in there, and then you use your arm and the bait pretty much.
The fish bites onto your arm.
Yeah, and then you grab it from the inside and then pull it out of the hole.
The inside of its guts you're grabbing?
Whatever you can grab in there, yeah, I would assume. But they have a pretty good grip on your arm.
Are they worried about snapping turtles?
I would. I'd worry about water moccasins, man.
Yeah.
Like, you're dead.
They wear big, thick gloves, no doubt. No gloves?
Rarely, if ever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Takes a special kind of Hoosier to pull that off.
You got to see the people that do it. They are definitely Hoosiers.
I've seen the
through and
videos, yeah. I guess if you're hungry, you'll do anything. You think these people are just trying to eat?
No, but I'm sure they eat it. Yeah. But those fishing grounds in Oklahoma are like sacred. Like, nobody reveals where they go. Like these secret
Why just
watering
Oklahoma?
holes. There used to be a show about noodling, and they would bring camera crews out and watch the guys noodle, but they would not reveal any location. Like, sometimes they couldn't even film some of the areas, the landscape, because it would be...
They put a bag over the head of the photographers?
It's a very secret place.
Huh.
To take that seriously.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
Let's go to Warson today, Doug. Let's go fishing for golf balls.
Well, I've got plenty of balls.
Ooh. Dirty.
I think they would throw us out. It's one thing if you're a 14 or 15-year-old kid, they probably more likely look the other way. Say it's just kids.
Most
If it's a couple super seniors, they'd go, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah. Now, most courses nowadays, they hire somebody to go do it like 2 or 3 times a year, and then they sell them in the pro shop.
Yeah.
I was going fishing.
Fishing for 14-year-old golf balls.
Well, they get waterlogged, I guess. They get ruined if they sit in the water too long.
Oh, yeah. We found one day, and I can't remember when we went and how long before that the Ryder Cup was at Old Warson. We found a couple of balls in there with Ryder Cup logos on it.
1971, I think. Does that sound right?
It could be. So we'd have been doing it like we were in 73 or so.
Yeah, that was at Old Warson. 1971.
I just
19th
wonder,
Ryder Cup.
I wonder how that affects the distance that you could hit a golf ball. It's been sitting in the water for a while.
Oh, quite a bit.
You would think.
We weren't. We were kids. We didn't care. We weren't like shooting 70s.
Yeah.
We just wanted free balls.
All right. Well, what kind of ball will you use when you try to hit one 230?
Oh, man, that could be a tough battle.
I don't know.
Could be a battle.
I'm going to talk to PG Pro Dan, see what ball has the most topspin on it.
Yeah, you need to get yourself kitted out with the top-of-the-line brand-new driver, your Pro V1 X's.
No, my driver's fine. That's the reason I got it, is because it takes the backspin off the ball. I was getting 20 to 25 yards roll after carry with this club, so I just got to figure out which ball is going to give me less backspin.
Maybe they'll insist you use the balls that they have right there.
No, I can't insist when I hit what I want.
I don't know.
Used to have these balls you could buy in the store called Robin Hoods. They were like Super Bowls.
Well, you're not going to cheat, are you?
No.
You would cheat. You would cheat if you could.
I'm not cheating. There's nothing on the line.
A milkshake and pride.
Well, it's not pride. If I don't do it, I don't do it. So what?
Okay.
I'm an old man with shoulder problems.
Well,
I got
but
a
you said
noble
you could.
problem
You
here.
said you could do it, and that's why this bet came about.
I said I think I can do it. I do it. I do it.
All right.
If I don't, I don't.
Are you practicing in any way?
No.
No.
You can practice. I'm just going to swing as hard as I can on a few, see where they go.
Okay. They have to go in the fairway?
No. I just said I could hit it 230. I didn't say I could hit it straight.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll see. Well, good luck to yous.
Yeah, well, I got to find out if I'm playing or not because I think Cletus thought there was a foursome.
Where's this?
Well, it's
At
it's a threesome, and I'm supposed to play with Cletus, but I think the last time he told me, he goes, yeah, it's me, you, Flower, and Guy. And then I realized that's a foursome.
You're talking about the par 3 now.
Yeah. So if I'm on there to be 4, so I'll just take myself out and maybe I'll just hit celebrity shots from that 40-yard shot.
Who would be the celebrity?
We'll put it this way. I'll be a show shot. You get a shot from the show.
Oh, okay. A show
Lauren's
shot.
supposed to caddy, so I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, no. She's going to caddy for you?
She hits at 8:32.
Yeah.
You're definitely not doing that.
Well, she already said she would.
Does she know all that's involved in
She
being
said, I'm going to need a cart. I said, well, it's a par 3. There's no carts. But some of these holes are like 80 yards long. You don't have to walk very far. And I'm only going to have like 4 clubs. I don't have a 54 degree of pitching wedge and a sand wedge and a putter.
Well, there's some holes out there. You may not be able to get there with a sandwich.
No. Well, then I'll use one of Cletus's clothes.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not bringing a bag for this thing. I'm going to give her a caddy bib that's got a couple of pockets in it. She can put she can put her balls in there and tees in there and just carry 4 clubs.
I remember we talked about this, and Iggy brought up, oh, you don't need a bag. You just need your putter, your 7, your 8, your 9, your pitching.
It's almost easier to bring a small bag.
Yeah, you named off like 6 clubs you may need.
Yeah, then you won't need the bib.
I just said 4. I'm bringing a 54, a sand wedge, and a pitching wedge.
I don't think you're going to get to
If
some
I
of the
need-
holes.
Well, then I'll borrow Cletus's.
What if he had
9
done
iron.
the same thing?
Oh, he'll bring his bag.
Each player must have his own clubs.
I think you could play every hole with a 9 iron, depending on, just.
Probably could.
I think the longest hole out there is 128, and that I'd probably hit a 9 iron. So
I don't know that you're going to get there with a 9. You do you. Ooh, boy.
Does it matter?
No. No, it doesn't.
Does it matter?
Mm-mm.
I may hit 3 shots to be done for the day.
Why?
The shoulder
Injuries?
Tendonitis accident.
Well, you're not gonna beg out of the long drive contest, are you?
No, I mean, even if I swing with one hand and hit it 50 yards, I'll still do it.
It's gotten that bad
we're
where you
now
might
at
swing with one
I
hand?
said I would do it.
We've now gotten to the one-armed, one-handed golf swing. And we're, 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away?
Right. We've had a sudden loss of bravado.
What do you want me to do? I knew I had the...
Get ready for this thing.
He could get a come and just pre-sawed his arm off before this. All right, we're going to hit it one-handed.
Get some therapy if you must. Lift some weights. Get out on the practice
It's not
tee.
that important to me. If I got to buy you a shake, so be it. I've won enough of these that if I lose one, it's no big deal.
Oh. Okay.
At least I try.
Sure you do.
What did I say I would throw the ball at when I threw 51? Did I say I would throw 60?
70, I think.
Yeah, that wasn't even close.
50s, yeah.
I wasn't here
But
for
I
that.
tried.
Caller Ellen says heavy sigh. What does that mean?
I don't know.
You're
She's
dumb.
upset
You
with
don't like
something.
listening to this talk? Let's go back
Oh.
to Mizzou talk.
No,
Come on.
gosh.
Let's break down that 3rd and 6 from the 48.
You don't like Mizzou talk now?
Burn.
Oh.
No, I did.
that's a burn.
But I don't know what Ellen wants. Why don't you throw out a topic, Elsie? What do you want us to talk about?
Man, you used to have a thing for this gal, and now you've really turned on her.
But now she just wants to trash me every time I talk. So.
Oh.
What about the gold domes for the Tigers?
Yeah, I didn't mind them.
I don't like them. It's not the Missouri helmet. It isn't their helmet.
They were yellow, weren't they?
They were yellow.
Yeah, but gold.
It's not gold.
Yeah.
It's yellow.
Yeah, it wasn't even
yellow.
gold.
City red.
I do have a problem with that.
Like urine yellow.
Please see earlier text, Colin Ellen says.
Well, I don't read the text.
I don't know what text. Doug, her most recent text was, please see earlier text.
Well,
her text before that was heavy sigh. Her text before that was, did Tim die? The text before that was, it's nice to sit on the sidelines and complain, isn't it, boys? So I don't know.
Who's complaining? And who's on the sidelines?
I think that text was from Friday, so...
We're
going to Hansel
we're
and
reading
Gretel this.
Friday
I don't know if
text?
we're going to be
None
able
of
to
these
get back
make
to
sense.
it.
So her Friday text still stands for today.
Yeah.
She must have really had a hot take on Friday.
Boy, we should go back and read it.
Right? I'm going right now.
What are you upset about, Elsie? Read Thursday's text. Okay, let's go back.
Did Tim die? I get that.
Jackson and Tim, what are your feelings about Winning Time being canceled? I didn't know that until I woke up this morning, and I am seriously upset about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Here is the story from the Hollywood Reporter this morning. Winning Time is no more. HBO confirmed that it has canceled the series after 2 seasons. The news was a surprise, coming only moments after the network aired the second season finale last night. I didn't realize last night was the season finale.
Neither did I.
Was that I mean, that was only like 7 or 8 episodes, wasn't it?
I think 6 or 7.
That was it.
I don't know.
Might have been episode 6.
Co-creator Max Bornstein shared his thoughts about the news on Twitter. Not the ending we had in mind, but nothing but gratitude and love. And director Sally Richardson posted on Instagram, when you give it everything you've got, you can have no regrets. I hope you enjoy the last episode of Winning Time. I am sure I will do many more hours of TV and hopefully many features in my future, but I can say that at this moment in time, I'm most proud of the work we did on this masterful show. In an interview conducted with the Hollywood Reporter in late August, Richardson shared hopes for a third season, given how the finale plays out. Obviously, you see how the season ends, so we would love to have, at the very least, even though we can do this for years, one more season so that we can get the Lakers winning against the Celtics. We don't want to end with the Celtics winning. That's awful, she told the Hollywood Reporter. I think people have realized this season that if you just watch the show instead of judging the show without seeing it, it's a great show. It's a well-written show with unbelievable performances, and you don't have to be a basketball fan to enjoy it. I think what Jeff was trying to say is that he hopes that people find this little gem that's out there because it really is a great show, and I'm proud to be a part of it. I think the writer's strike played a role in this, and then there's a limited amount to market since writers are not able to market it. And unfortunately, I'm really disappointed. I knew Jeff Pearlman, whose book the show is based on, had been tweeting that if people didn't start watching it, it was in jeopardy of being canceled. I loved the show. I mean, I recognize it's hyperbolic, but God, I really like the show. So I'm super disappointed, to answer the texter's question.
Yeah, so
the ratings not good?
I don't know. I mean, it's
Probably
got
not.
good reviews.
Shut it down.
Colin Ellen says she's trying to call in, Jackson, and nobody's answering.
I got it. Well,
Come on, Jackson.
Well, okay.
Is this on HBO?
HBO.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Netflix will pick it up and they can go for a third season.
I really liked the first season. I watched one episode of season 2 and said, I'm out. This is stupid.
Really? What happened on the
I thought
episode?
it was just overly exaggerated, and I didn't think the writing was very good. There was just some things that were just so stupid. Like, we were supposed to feel sorry for Magic because he hurt his knee, so they cut to a shot of Magic having sex with a girl, and she just can't continue because she hit his cast on his leg, and now Magic is so depressed about that. I said, give me a break. Give me a break on this. And every time Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is up, hey, Cap. Hey, look, Cap. Oh, we get it. You called him Cap. We get it. Little things like that bothered me. The portrayal of Jerry West was completely out of bounds and crazy. I don't know. I just thought they didn't have to exaggerate much, and I thought they did. And for me, it kind of spoiled it.
It kind of makes sense to where it ended because you knew they weren't going to get into the HIV thing with
That's
Magic.
how they opened the show. That was the returning point. That's how they opened the show.
Yeah, but that's all the further. They didn't have much of anything after that. My guess is Magic Johnson wanted no part of the HIV, and the other players and other cast members talked about how it wasn't portrayed very well. So that could be a part of it too, to where if it's such a ridiculous storyline that not a lot of it, actually happened, then what's the value of the show? I love the show. I watched the last episode last night, and I loved it. How far could they have gone without hitting
Kobe and Shaq? Why not?
It wasn't going that far, and I knew they weren't going to touch the HIV thing.
I would have. Well, they did though. That was the opening scene.
That's where I thought they would end. I thought
I thought they would come full circle to that. That's what I thought the end would be.
Right.
Because Showtime is not about Kobe and Shaq. Showtime is about the '80s Lakers, and that it's kind of like when Boogie Nights goes from the '70s to the '80s. Once they got to the 1990s, it was never the same. I love the show. I'm hoping like somehow it continues on somewhere else.
Yeah.
Winning Time is too good a show to deserve cancellation. The Larry Bird character is awesome. Screw you, Doug. Go back to Andy Griffith. Doug, that's from the Worsonwoods Wacko.
I do like Andy Griffith.
Yeah,
Like I said, I loved the first season. I couldn't wait for every episode to come out. I just thought season 2, they just overdid it to the point where I thought, boy, this is fiction now.
Well, this must be something everybody knows, and I don't. But so Magic was having sex with girls even though he had HIV?
No.
This
was in a
this was before. This when he was hurt.
Well, you said at the beginning of the second season that you mentioned he had HIV, and then he's having sex.
The beginning of the show, the first episode.
The first episode of the entire series
is the press conference.
Yeah, right. But like, honestly,
Doug, November 7th, 1991? Is that right?
I don't know the dates, Tim.
They could
barely know the year, Tim.
They could just continue on with Adrian Brody doing Pat Riley and just how that goes, and I would watch every second of it. That is like world-class acting when you get Adrian Brody doing Pat Riley, and it's just frustrating that now, like it's all done. I thought it was really well done. I thought there was too much going on, to be honest.
They breezed through and maybe that's because they knew they might have trouble getting it renewed, but they started to speed it up. I mean, my God,
big time, yeah.
Like the 1983 NBA Finals against the Sixers, which I don't remember at all. And I didn't realize they played the Sixers, 3 out of 4 years?
Mm-hmm. Dr. J.
Was Dr. J on the 83 team? Was that Moses Malone?
It was Moses was by far the best
I would
player.
think Dr. J would have been
But
there.
I think Dr. J was still on the team.
Was he?
This is later in his career.
That they got swept and they just kind of breezed through the season. But that's fine. It was setting up to get to the first Lakers-Celtics matchup. That's what everything was built up toward. I love the show. I'm legitimately disappointed. Oftentimes shows get canceled, and by the time they get canceled, they'd kind of worn out their welcome. So this one sucks. But I think it's in part a byproduct of the writer's strike.
Did they get the Jeannie Buss posing in Playboy?
No, but Jeannie Buss is a part of it. She's a good part.
Great.
I like her character.
John C. Reilly's great as Dr. Jerry Buss, man. There's world class. They got incredible actors around the board. Everyone. The guy who played Magic was outstanding. Jason Clarke as Jerry West, obviously polarizing, but can't deny it's good acting. Like, I thought it was a really good show that could have gone a lot. And I know that Showtime isn't Kobe and Shaq, but if the show is as good as it has been early, they could just keep going. Like, I don't see why not, but yeah, no more.
Jeannie Buss just got married to Jay Moore, the comedian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I saw that. Jay Moore do anything anymore?
Marrying the daughters of billionaires, I guess.
Yeah, that's doing enough for me.
Yeah.
Good for him.
He kind of resurrected his career when he started co-hosting the Jim Rome show.
He was big there for a while and just kind of disappeared, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was all
Bob
over the
Sugar,
place.
1996, Jerry Maguire. Bob Sugar.
Bob Sugar. Okay. Yeah, he seemed like he was all over TV, and I haven't seen him in years now.
Why don't we get him on?
Well, he's married.
He's not able
doesn't
to
have a mom. Or he does have a mom now that he's married. So that's how it
But
works.
not that kind of mom
Oh.
that you didn't know.
Caller Ellen is on the line. And,
No, she's not.
She hasn't called in.
Doug is down. Caller Ellen saying she's calling
I don't
in.
know.
Who's
Why
that guy?
is she duping us?
Because you're not married, so your kids don't have that mom that you're dating.
Yeah.
You used to have Jay Moore's number.
Maybe we can get him. Doug, we will get him on.
HBO is also has been historically quick with the trigger sometimes to get rid of shows.
What other shows would be an example? sir?
Deadwood would be a.
Oh,
as
I don't
Iggy knows.
resonate with Iggy.
Iggy knows.
Yeah, they just ran out of money. The show was too expensive to put on, so HBO said hell with it.
Yeah, I can't imagine what the acting budget was because you have a bunch of Academy
Timothy
Award-
Oliphant.
Yeah, that. Well, yeah, with Deadwood certainly, but I'm talking Winning Time. Like the list of actors they had in that show is crazy.
Sally Field.
Sally Field, John C. Reilly, Adrian Brody. I mean, these are big-time actors that you usually get for movies. Even Adrian Brody does TV. He was in Peaky Blinders.
Can we get this call Ellen call over with? That's your Mr. Legs.
Come on.
She hasn't called in. I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
happy
had
to
enough.
answer. I love talking to Ellen.
She's had enough.
Sometimes she calls in and scolds us.
Guys, Rome was also another HBO show they canceled too soon. Anybody see Rome?
Yeah, only 2 seasons. Great nudity.
Oh, gosh. If that's the only thing you judge it on, just watch porn.
No.
Clip that off.
But there were a lot of things that could have kept going. I mean, it pretty much ended when Cleopatra killed herself after Mark
Spoiler.
Antony killed himself.
Didn't even know that.
Or he died. But it stopped there. I don't know why. So many great actors. The guy who just died recently, he played Titus Pullo.
Titus Pullo.
Titus Pullo.
There's
Alan Arkin?
No. He just died, and he's been in some really good movies.
Can we have initials, please?
I can't remember his name. If somebody wants to type up Rome cast and whoever played Titus.
Ray Stevens.
Ray Stevens. He just passed. He's only like 52, I think, 53. But they had some great actors. It was a great show. But again, probably too much money to put it on, so HBO pulled the plug.
There's a lot of moving parts on a huge production like that. It could be the producer had enough, or the director left, or the main star didn't want to do it anymore, or got a better offer somewhere. You never know.
Well, W.O. Brown
Vinyl,
told
too.
me. He told me that...
Somebody predicted W.O. Brown's story.
Well, he was in Deadwood. He was in Deadwood. He happens to be a friend. So yeah, what do you expect?
The big tough. Do you get paid off? You get bottle of tequila.
Tough call on your part. That I might talk about a friend of mine since we're talking about a show that he was on.
Don't.
Can you work in Ottawell Simmons?
No, I haven't talked to Audie in a while. We celebrated a birthday a couple weeks ago.
Oh, did he?
But he told me that what really screwed is because some of them, weren't billionaires or millionaires. And he said a lot of the cast, were living in apartments or whatever and decided to buy a house because they thought they were going another 2 years. They had a 5-year deal. So he said, we got 2 more years of this. So they were buying houses and things like that.
This is what show now?
Deadwood.
Deadwood.
And then when they ended after 3, some of these people were hurting because how am I going to pay for this? We thought we were going another 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Dogtown Ty wants to talk about it all. Good morning, Dogtown Ty.
Okay. Hello, dog.
He's the fan page club
Gentlemen,
champion.
how are you?
Morning, Dogtown
we're
Ty.
fine.
Congratulations on your win. That sounds like a Jim Dandy against Kevin Roth.
It was. I was calling to share a few details Sean left out. It was quite apropos of this Shishawali event. I 3-putted on 17 and 18 with birdie putts to extend things, and then on the first playoff hole, we both went OB off the tee box, and I won it with a bogey to his double bogey. So
Oh, Doug, that's championship caliber golf out there.
That's nerves getting to you.
Yes, it is.
Iggy said that was nerves getting to you. Is that accurate?
I tell you what, it may have been. I played perfect golf through about 15 holes, and then he
And were you
started to play
3 up
really
with?
well.
Were you 3 up with 3 to go? Was he dormy AF?
No. He was. I was up, I think, 3 after 12, and then he birdied 12 to get it to 3, and then he just kept cutting it down. So he started to play really well. He played pretty bad on the front. I don't. He played really well on the back, bad on the front. He doesn't listen to the show though, so I don't feel bad sharing that.
Doesn't listen to the show and he's in the finals?
Yep.
Why is he on the fan page?
Sponsor exemption.
Oh, that's right.
He was a
Sponsor.
super good guy though.
That's right.
Did you pick up your trophy?
Yeah, that was nicely.
I did.
Nice spot
I got it the other day.
Oh, did you?
I didn't know he was a sponsor of the show.
It's quite big.
I didn't know who he played. I don't know who he played. I wasn't paying attention. Now, did you guys chop or not?
Chop, cheeky, Doug.
Yeah.
We did. We agreed to a chop beforehand.
What was the chop?
15 to 1,000.
Were you against the chop? Because you said you weren't going to chop. Did he really want to chop?
No, I wasn't going to chop, and then I looked into his handicap, and he was true to his handicap, but he hadn't entered scores for months, so I got a little nervous.
That's a serious charge.
Yeah.
And he was true to it, but it was an educated, gambler's play just to take the chop. I didn't want to go home with nothing if I did end up losing. So we decided 1,500 was a good spot for the winner, and 1,000 would have made up for all the money we paid to play.
Now, was this the highlight of your athletic career?
Nice question.
I would say so, Doug. I played at a pretty high level through high school and college on a multitude of sports, so I would say yes, this is probably it. And the trophy's tremendous. It's huge.
What other sport could a schlepper like you play?
A little bit of tennis, a little bit of golf.
You played college golf?
No, I played college tennis.
Ah.
Yeah, so no, not golf. I picked that up a little bit later.
Rich
like
parents?
most, I feel like athletes do.
Yeah, how rich are your parents?
Nice question.
Oh, quite wealthy. Yeah, I grew up at Belle Reve.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
There it is, Doug.
And then my parents made too much money, so they kicked us out, and then we went to St. Louis. So it was kind of a transitional period.
Okay. And what does a gentleman like you do for a living, if anything?
Just golf. I just play in golf tournaments.
Flies drone.
All right.
Comes out to events and flies his drone.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a good business model.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay.
Recovering alcoholic wants to know if you wife swapped. I don't know with whom, but that's what the recovering alcoholic wants to know.
With anyone in general, no. No, I didn't. But I'm a big fan of his, so I appreciate the question.
Well, he doesn't swap. He just pawns her off on random people. That's not swapping.
It's swapping adjacent.
You would swap? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would not swap. I'm anti-swap.
Are you? Okay.
I always thought our fan page club champion winners were historically polyamorous, so this is our first monogamous winner.
This is an upset.
What if Margot Robbie and her husband wanted to swap with you?
Good question.
That's a fine question. I'd certainly consult the wife. I would, yeah.
Nice.
Okay. What does your wife see in you?
Come again?
What does your wife see in you?
Maybe that's why
she sees a champion is what she sees.
Oh, yes, she does. Wow.
Where's that applause coming? Is that a drop?
I think it's
She
him.
gonna let you put that.
it's Jackson.
It's Jackson clap.
She gonna let you put that big ass trophy in the house?
It's right on the mantle. She loves it. It's right next to the fireplace, right up on top.
Okay.
Dogtown Ty, do you feel like you were playing to your handicap?
Yes. Yeah, I shot, I think, probably 78 or 79.
Okay. That's about right then.
Yeah, it was right on, and so was he. It was a great match. He was a super cool guy, and so it was fun. It was a good time.
Couple of Kingslayers there, Doug, with
Sounds like it.
Dogtown Ty and Kevin Roth. One of them got Chris Heck, one of them got Guy, and then the two of them met. But were you giving any poppy seeds?
No, straight up.
Straight up. Boy, that had to be fun for you and your family to watch.
We didn't pay any attention to it. We really
It
didn't.
was quite the crowd out there, Doug. I was surprised we didn't see the satellite crowd.
There wasn't a crowd out there. There was nobody out there.
Yeah, who was out there?
Curtis Hall was out there.
There was one.
Was there really a guy there?
Actually. There was one guy in a golf cart that just kept following us around.
No way.
He was,
And you did?
Yeah, I swear.
And you didn't know who it was?
I didn't know who it was.
No way.
He's a butt pirate. Didn't know who he was either.
creepy,
He just
dude.
followed us around.
Definitely are lucky you're still alive.
You know who Curtis Hall is?
I don't.
I bet it was Curtis. He seems to show up at all these matches.
Does he?
But not secretly.
Were you in makeup and following
No,
him
I didn't
on the
go.
cart?
It's a Shishawali event in nature.
Are you sure the guy was following your match?
Yeah, he wasn't playing golf. He just had a cart, and he picked us up on like 14 and just kept following us and just would stand on the green side and just watch. And then we would finish up, and he'd go to the next green.
That's my nominee for the Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year. That's my nominee.
But we don't know
Nothing
who
can shake
it was.
Well, it could have been following Kevin Roth, who is not a listener. So it could have been, I don't know if he qualifies. I suppose he does. Anybody qualifies.
But so did Kevin Roth say, who is this guy?
No, we didn't talk about it. We just let him go.
Did he introduce himself?
It's so strange
You had
to me.
you had a stalker there, and you didn't even mention it.
And he's on the green while you guys are putting. I mean,
like a sleep
it's
paralysis
alarming.
demon.
Yeah, he had no clubs. He had no clubs and just a cart, and he was just driving around.
Did he get out of the cart and come up to the green and watch?
He did. Yeah, he would get out and he wouldn't be right on the green, but he would kind of stand in the off the periphery in the bushes, and he just kind of watched.
He was in the bushes.
Well, you got fans out there.
Doug, we had a gallery. See?
Did he say anything at the end, like congratulations, or
Yeah.
man, this was a great event, or anything?
Yeah, he said congratulations, and he shook my hand and then just left.
Really?
Didn't introduce himself or anything?
This guy's the greatest.
He's the Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year.
We don't know who it is.
For debate.
I bet it was Curtis Hall. Was he kind of heavy-set, man?
No.
Why do you keep trying to pin this on Curtis Hall?
Because Curtis likes to come out and watch these matches. I've seen him out there for a bunch of matches. Curtis
If a
Hall's-
gentleman is following your match, don't you say, hi, who are you? That's from Brad and Boca. Sounds like Brad is skeptical of this whole thing.
You can call Kevin Roth. I don't know.
Call Kevin Roth.
I don't have his number.
I'm bumping Gabe.
No, I believe him. I just like to know who it is.
Well, we got to get him his Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year prize.
For real.
Well,
Did not introduce yourself, but
and paid for a cart?
William Howard Taft just texted in. William Howard Tuft. And he says, I can confirm a gentleman watched the last several holes.
Oh.
Well, you were out there watching too, Taft?
Was it Sean Barnes?
No, I know Sean well. No, it wasn't Sean. It was a skinny guy.
And he was just out there.
He was just out there.
How would he have known you guys were? I didn't even know you guys were playing.
I don't know. I didn't talk to him. I don't know.
He could have been out there playing and saw they were playing. Did you?
He didn't
How would you know?
Well, he could have been.
It's two guys playing golf.
But he could have been playing before and got done and noticed that you were out there and came back and followed you.
But how would he know who
Did you guys have caddies?
Yes, we did. He
William
just had,
Howard
like,
Tuft.
tennis shoes on.
Huh.
The Cletus?
No, Cletus be barefoot.
I know Cletus. It wasn't Cletus.
Someone would have got raped if it was Cletus.
I thought I was moderating the fan page. I thought moderating the fan page was a giant waste of time. That's from former fan page moderator Neil Ellen.
Yeah, he gave it up.
That's the thing. That's why this guy who came out there to find out that these two were playing and watch and never talked to him, but just stood on the green.
Well, he was so skinny. Is it possible he was looking for food scraps?
Is my Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year.
Tim, you should just give him the IP of the show.
Absolutely.
Give it all up to him.
But we don't know
That
who it
guy's
is.
the winner.
We don't know who it is.
No, we don't know.
And now you're going to have a bunch of people saying it was me, but we're not going to know who it was.
It's a serious charge to say Curtis Hall is a stalker on the same level of the guy who had flowers for Lisa Ann behind a potted plant at a remote. That's from Carlos Spicy.
Where do you get that from?
That dude definitely in prison for murder.
Oh, we
I'm
don't
not
know
saying
that.
Curtis is a stalker. I just know a lot of my matches and other matches he comes out and watches because he enjoys watching the golf. There's nothing wrong with it. And he donated the trophy. Maybe he wanted to see who was going to win the trophy he donated. It's not stalking. He just enjoys coming out and watching.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you tie that into the guy with the flowers.
It was Iggy.
Yeah, I'm going to get off my couch and go watch a match on a Sunday.
Congratulations, Dogtown Ty. You probably will be deposed as we try to find out who this gentleman was in the pursuit of finding our Milagro Tequila Listener of the Year. The gentleman who showed up at Gateway National, stood on the green to watch guys putt for 5 holes, and left.
I wish you'd have taken a picture of him.
Well, hey, you guys have Gabe coming up, did you say?
Yeah, the Colonel's going to be with us coming up in a matter of moments.
Hey, well, I'll get off really quick. But one thing, did you guys get the emails from Mizzou Athletics, like late night after the win on Saturday, asking for money?
I don't believe I did.
Ask Gabe. I don't know. I wonder if it'll come up. But it was the weirdest email. They're selling "quote-unquote" win T-shirts to commemorate the win.
Doug, did you get your
it was
win T-shirt?
No.
One of the weirdest things. And then they say if you don't want
They've
the
never
T-shirt,
beaten
you can
anybody.
just, you can
It's
just
pointed
donate.
after
you
the
just donate money.
that reception that they got. They've never beaten a Big 12 team, is what it seemed like. So I'm with
Isn't that
ya.
pathetic?
I want to see the T-shirt. I want to get one.
I can see you wearing that.
Put it in a shadow box.
pretty
Put it
bad.
right above the mantle.
I'll hop off. Thanks, guys.
Oh, there goes
Hi,
our
John.
All right, sorry to bother you.
Hey, guys, the skinny guy following in the golf cart was definitely producer Joe. That's from Big Tough.
Oh,
He missing the show. Want to be a part of it
I
by a
don't know.
golf tournament
I don't
on
know.
a Sunday. I could not imagine Joe being paid to do that.
No.
Jackson, do you know anything about this gentleman?
About the gentleman who was standing out there watching, I
That's
don't.
right.
I don't. I would love to meet this person.
I would too.
I'd give him a hug and say, good for you.
How much would someone have to pay you to go out and watch that?
If it was only like, what, so 14? So 14 through 18?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd do that for...
Was Sean out there? We can ask who rented a cart that day who wasn't playing. I mean, I'm sure he's not just going to take a cart and go out there. They'd have to
Who knows?
pay for it.
But would you do that for $100?
Sure.
You would?
Sure, just what? Yeah. I mean, Fan Page Club Championship final? Sure. I could snap some vid.
Don't
like
say
to snap some vid. I like that.
No.
Get some B-roll.
That's no better.
Entomology?
That's a study of insects.
All right. Well, we're on the same page now.
There's probably a camera. There's probably a camera by the cart barn, so people can't
Doug,
come
let's
in
get
at
their
night and
security
steal stuff.
footage.
Doing it
Do we
security
care
footage.
that much?
Yeah, this seems a little too in-depth.
Just ask Bucksmoke to figure it out.
Figure it out.
You see their carts come in, and then you see the cart with no golf clubs on it. We'll know who it is.
It was Gabe.
He was the Colonel. Colonel's going to be with us in a matter of moments. Brought to you by James Carlton. I apologize. Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com. Andrea's barbecue sauce, Andrea's steak sauce, Andrea's steakhouse. Oh, how do you do, Andrea's? Your barbecue sauce is so choice. Oh, your steak sauce is so choice. How do you make it so well, Max, I ask? That's what I say.
That's how you put it?
Yeah, Andreas.com is where you can go to get it, or Deerberg's or Schnucks, and then, of course, visit the steakhouse and experience the delicious treats at Andrea's. It's Andrea's on Collinsville Road in O'Fallon, Illinois. Andreas.com is where you can get all the delicious sauces and check out the menu. It's Andrea's, a wonderful sponsor of TMA, and where I enjoy barbecue constantly. Is caller Ellen on hold?
No.
Oh.
What was that about? I don't know what that was about.
Yeah.
She trolling.
You having a treat?
No, I just kind of said that in a slack-jawed manner.
I like that slack-jawed.
Slack-jawed. Meaning very casual?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tim's just doing it right there.
That's slack-jawed as well.
Yeah.
Well, maybe tomorrow, Ellen, because we're taking a break, and Gabe will be on till the email, so maybe you can call us in tomorrow with your comment you were going to bring in today.
It sounds like you're upset with Ellen. Are you upset with her in some way?
No.
Because she spurned your advances?
Oh, God. I've never advanced. I've never tried to advance. She's
I thought you wanted to have lunch with her.
Oh, it hasn't advanced.
No, she's just a
So caller Ellen loved the topic.
Just a friend.
Yeah.
Maybe not that anymore. I don't know.
Oh, God.
All right, we will have the Colonel, presented by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, Gabe DeArmond of PowerMizzou.com, joining us next. This is the Ryan Kelly Morning After from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
Hello, it's Jackson for Rosalita's. TMA listeners know that Rosalita's Cantina has the best patio and the best Tex-Mex in town. From tableside guac to piled high nachos, the amazing menu at Rosalita's is full of classic Mexican dishes. Plus, it's always time for a margarita, and Rosalita's has the most delicious house and specialty margs in town. Enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, and let Rosalita's cater your next event. Check out rosalitascantina.com or visit the downtown or DePere location today. Time to get your fiesta on at Rosalita's.
Urban Dictionary defines thirsty as purposely, knowingly, and recklessly attempting to gain fame to boost self-esteem. So, are you thirsty? Well, TMA has you covered. Become a part of the 2023 TMA Listener of the Month Club. You nominate yourself for a monthly award. And if you win, you get recognition and stuff to help you satisfy that insatiable thirst. We're talking January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, etc. Go to TMASTL.com or the TMA app. Give us your name, a photo, and other pertinent information. Tell us why you deserve to be TMA Listener of the Month. And if you don't want to use your real name or photo, we don't really care. The TMA Listener of the Month. Get recognized just for being you, or fake you, or whatever. Quenched by Milagro Tequila. Welcome to the brighter side of tequila with Milagro and the morning after on KPNT HD2.
Hey, this is Tim McKernan. I'm with a great sponsor of TMA, and that's Longo Biggs of the Longo Biggs Injury Law Firm. People are starting to head out now. It is summertime, but that means an increase in car accidents.
Hey guys, like Tim just said, summer is finally here, and that means there's more people on the roadways. And you might be going to a Cardinals game, or maybe you're headed home from taking your buddy's money on the golf course. But with increased traffic on the roads, it also means a higher likelihood for car accidents. If you get in an accident, contact our firm immediately. We've successfully handled a countless number of car, motorcycle, and truck accidents. And if you go to our website, you will see we have received awards for doing so. We will make the process easy for you while maximizing the compensation you receive. Go to our website or Google Longo Biggs Injury Law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisement.
Hello, it's Jackson for Rosalitas. TMA listeners know that Rosalitas Cantina has the best patio and the best Tex-Mex in town. From tableside guac to piled high nachos, the amazing menu at Rosalitas is full of classic Mexican dishes. Plus, it's always time for a margarita, and Rosalitas has the most delicious house and specialty margs in town. Enjoy happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, and let Rosalitas cater your next event. Check out rosalitascantina.com or visit the downtown or DePere location today. Time to get your fiesta on at Rosalitas.
Okay. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Pepperoncini. And now the Pepperoncini Show with Darren Atkins and Ken Strode. All right, take it, fellas.
There it is. That's the open.
Pepperoncini.
We don't know what it is. We don't understand the name. We just know it's stupid. And it's available every weekday, featuring Iggy and the Plowboy. Apparently it's some kind of a podcast or something. Available at tmastl.com and on the TMASTL mobile app. Whatever.
Hey, Tiger fans. This is Mizzou wide receiver Luther Burton III. Come support Mizzou NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carlton.
Thanks, Luther. If your insurance rates have gone up, let me see if I can save you money, especially if you have drivers under the age of 25. You will get 5-star local customer service when you work with our office. If you mention Luther's name, we'll make a donation to Mizzou's preferred NIL on your behalf.
Come support Mizzou NIL and get a quote from my friend James Carlton.
Check us out online at carltoninsurance.net. MIZZOU.
All right, here we go. Here's something new. Announcing the first ever TMA Hit and Giggle. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Benefiting the Megan Meyer Foundation. Friday, October 6th at Family Golf and Learning Center. It's a 9-hole par 3 tournament full of threesomes. Oh, geez. And it's a walking course, so if you're a walrus, start getting in shape. Your $55 ticket includes 9 holes, beer from Mich Ultra, and lunch or dinner depending on your tee time. Plus shipping and putting contest for our degenerate gamblers. You'll also get to see Iggy's Long Drive Challenge. Brought to you by Souter Appraisal. Can he hit it 210, 220, maybe 223? Who knows? But it should be a fun day no matter what. The first ever TMA Hit and Giggle. Brought to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. Better than ever for you, their customer. And Family Golf and Learning Center. They make St. Louis better at golf. Visit FamilyGolfOnline.com. Tickets are on sale now. Get all of the Hit and Giggle info now at TMASTL.com.
Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota, the presenting sponsor of Balloon Party on 101 ESPN, and the longtime 7 o'clock hour sponsor on TMA, and the official automotive provider of TMA and the Tim McKernan Show podcast. They have a secret number for our listeners to call or text with any questions or requests they may have. 314-252-0029. Call or text that number. Go shopping at stlouisacura.com or altontoyota.com. Do you want to support the EDF Group as a sponsor of TMA? Well, it's real simple. Do you have a fire extinguisher where you work? The answer is yes, you certainly do. So please email the EDF Group at fire@theedfgroup.com so a technician can come out and explain to your team how the EDF Group can save your company money. Again, that email address is fire@theedfgroup.com. The EDF Group is hot and will prevent your facility from having hot fires. Experience the EDF Group difference. Learn more at theedfgroup.com.
Live from the Michelob Ultra Studios, KPNT-FM HD2, Collinsville, St. Louis. This is TMA All Day.
I mean, what the hell is going on? The Ryan Kelly Morning After.
KPNT-FM HD2.
Collinsville, St. Louis.
Doug, they were pumping this at my house on Saturday night. Jackson was there dancing by himself.
Yeah. Jackson dances quite a bit by himself. And when they get a win like that, you know, he's just going to cut the rug all night.
The Mevis Shuffle.
What they call it?
I was afraid he was going to get trampled there at the end because he collapsed kind of at the end zone, and then a bunch of people jumped on top of him.
He said it hurt.
I bet it did. How could it not?
Worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Colonel is on the line, Doug, as we start the 9 o'clock hour here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After, and he's presented by James Carlton, who is in studio. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. You can also see this, the fact that we're all hot, and that's a real positive.
Yeah, extremely hot.
Thank
it
you.
almost goes without saying. A lot of beefcake.
Thank you. Morning, Colonel.
A lot of beefcake.
What's up, guys?
What's the good word with you? How has it been the last 48 hours for you as the proprietor of PowerMizzou.com?
easier than, the 6 or 7 days before. There's a little bit of why do you hate them and pick them to lose and all that. But the truth is, I've figured out when I'm doing predictions, I would rather pick them to lose and have them win than the other way around. Because if I pick them to lose and they win, well, everybody's happy and they don't really waste a lot of energy being mad at me for being wrong. But if I pick them to win and they lose, then not only are people mad that they lost, they're also mad at me for getting their hopes up and being wrong. So it's kind of a lose-lose. So perhaps I'll just pick them to lose every game.
Oh, nice.
And then if they win, nobody really notices.
Nice. That's not a bad strategy on the part of the Colonel. Colonel, we were texting around 6:30 this morning, and the idea, and I just asked James this before we entered the segment, best game, I thought, about since the 2013 A&M game, and best win since 2014 Arkansas, which sent them to the SEC's title and championship game. I'm reading your 10 thoughts on a Monday morning on Power Mizzou, which is one of my favorite things to read every week. And you elaborate on that and look at some of the most unlikely endings to a Mizzou game in a good way that you can remember, including Mevis beating Kansas State, the San Diego State game, Blaine Gabbert to T.J. Moe. Doug, remember that NFL quarterback Blaine Gabbert? They were at McGregor's, San Diego State. And then you also included DeAndre Golston from half court twice. That's a nice play. Doing it in the last, the Clarence Gilbert 2001 NCAA tournament's a nice reset. I was at that game in Greensboro. And Zaire Taylor with 2-game winners in a week. Lee Coward beating Kansas in the buzzer twice in a season. But, I mean, you're talking about 30 years worth of Missouri athletics history to show just how much this one stands out that only took place about 40 hours ago.
Yeah, because, I mean, we know Mevis can kick a ball 61 yards, but I don't know, the number of times he makes that kick, 15, 20%, maybe?
Yep, I agree with you, 15%.
I think that's probably on the upside. I mean, he had, I was talking to the guys before the drive started in the press box, and I said, I think you got to get to the 40 to feel like it's, reasonably makeable. A 57-yard field goal is not exactly, it's still probably less than 50-50, but to at least feel like, okay, this isn't just kind of a prayer. I said, I think you got to get to the 45 to let him try, which would have been a 62, 63-yarder. Because at that point, I mean, even if it's a 10% chance, it's a better chance than completing a 50-yard Hail Mary or a 45-yard Hail Mary. So I think you would have at least given him the shot from a couple yards deeper than he kicked it. And they got, to the 38 and then did a couple of curious things that backed him up 5 yards. And Mevis was good after the game. He said, I mean, I would have preferred the 56-yarder, but, I thought I had a chance.
We heard the soundbite of Drinkwitz upset that the fans, what he thought were booing Brady Cook. Is that how you saw it? Were they booing Cook? Were they booing Drinkwitz? What happened there before the game?
Well, I was late. I was late getting into the game.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Later than usual. No, I was there by kickoff, but I had a couple things to do before the game. So I was not in the press box when they introduced starting lineups on the video board about 20 minutes before the game. I've been told by a couple of people there were some boos when they introduced Brady Cook as the starting quarterback, mostly coming from the student section. And the defense of fans is always twofold. Number one, well, I wasn't booing the player. I was booing the coach. I remember that happening with Connor Bazelak. Well, no, we were booing the coach, not the player. Well, the players don't make that distinction. When the quarterback is introduced and you boo, they're not going to think, oh, well, they're booing the coach for playing me. Also, they're still booing the fact that you're the one playing. So, that's a hollow defense for me. The other one basically boils down to, well, the customer is always right. I can say whatever I want because I pay for tickets, and those guys shouldn't fire back at me. No, 100% false. I tell people on our message board all the time, you are welcome to be angry at me, to call me whatever you want, to say whatever you want to me. I am also welcome to defend myself. The fact that you spend money to be here does not mean that you are free from me coming back at you if you come at me. So I don't know, boo if you want, but during starting lineups before the game starts, I didn't like it. I appreciate. I mean, again, I didn't hear it, but I'm going to trust the people that told me it happened. I don't know why they'd make it up. I appreciate what Eli was doing. He didn't say what he said for the fans or for the media or anything else. He said it for Brady Cook in his locker room, and I promise those players appreciated it. They said, there's a coach that's got my back. And I know a lot of people say, well, this is just another example of Drinkwitz talking, and his mouth being ahead of the results and all that. I don't know. I think he has a right to say what he said. And like he said, it just reached a point that he said, I felt like I need to say this. You disagree with him if you want, but I think the arguments against what he said come up pretty empty to me.
Gabe, good morning. You also wrote about this morning in your 10 thoughts that the great outcome of this is, although they beat a top 15 team in dramatic fashion, of course, they probably didn't play their A game. I mean, if you look at the box score on third down on offense, was pretty lousy. Yeah. Third down on defense, pretty lousy. Yep. There's a lot of room for improvement there. So if they can be, I think we can all agree. I mean, Kansas State's going to be around. They're going to be in the thick of things in the Big 12, at least I would think. That quarterback, if he's healthy, I mean, he's a legit player. And then that fullback / halfback / whatever. I mean, that guy is a mismatch all over the field. But, yeah, just what are your takeaways from what are the things that Mizzou can work on heading into the Memphis game, and where do we go from there?
Yeah, still too many penalties at bad times. Outside the Cody Schrader run on, I forget what drive it was in the fourth quarter, though. They really didn't run the ball very well. They left some points out there on a missed field goal. They made some mistakes, delay a game, just kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. I said I thought Missouri probably played a B-plus game, and I said going in, I don't think you've necessarily got to play an A-plus game to win this game. This isn't Georgia. I think you can win this with probably a B effort, but only if Kansas State's a little bit off too. I think Missouri played a B-plus game. Kansas State played a B- or C-plus game. I think those are fair assessments because even though Missouri made some mistakes, I think Kansas State made probably a few more. So, again, encouraging. You would always rather be able to say, well, here's what we need to fix after a win. And the win does cover up a few of those mistakes. I guess after that game, if you want to focus on, well, here are the things we did wrong and all that. I mean, the coaches will do that as fans. The result, we didn't really ask Eli Drinkwitz after the game, hey, how come you called your timeout on first down on that last drive when the clock was already stopped temporarily? If they lose the game, we probably ask about that. Because they won, I don't know. I'm not really wasting a question on that because, frankly, in the end, it didn't really matter.
Yeah, I also think one of the things we haven't discussed it yet on the show, and I'm not big on the officiating unless it's, a huge moment in the game. I do think there was absolutely, and I think Missouri got a break last week against Middle Tennessee State, for the record. This one went against Missouri. I thought that was pass interference down the side. I thought it was without question, by the way, pass interference. They thought, though, on the broadcast, you know which play I'm talking about?
I don't.
James, it was on that final drive. But either way, neither here nor there. Going back to that final drive, so many things to talk about with it, Gabe. Certainly the delay of game is coaching malpractice, and had the team lost, it is something that I would imagine many of your subscribers, and certainly us on the show, and people in St. Louis and Kansas City and throughout the state are talking about. Even though still a 56-yard field goal, maybe he hits that 25% of the time, if we're saying 15% for a 61-yard field goal. And then the timeout you made reference to. Those are negatives. Fortunately, you'd like to think they learn from them, so when there's game management down the stretch in games that inevitably there will be this year, they'll be better prepared to handle that, but that was poor. Kleinman had the same issue with the delay of game on his side, too. There were 3 delay of games for K-State and Missouri combined at the end of that game. But with regards to Cook and the way he performed, he hit the long pass and Luther Burden went off and all of that. But I thought that pass that set up the field goal that slant over the middle, which I believe was the final play before the delay of game that set up the spike. I mean, that was a hell of an execution to get the ball from where they were after the punt and lead them down the field, albeit with one timeout that was most likely misspent, and put them in that position. So that combined with the pass and the catch by Norfleet earlier in the game, and his ability to battle through the injury, because I had written off their offense after seeing what they came out in the third quarter, and I know I was texting you about it actually, that he just wasn't going to be able to play, and it's a shame because he was playing so well, but he was hurt. And instead, he rose to the occasion in the fourth quarter, in particular, on that final drive. I thought that was the signature moment from the game outside of the obvious, which was the Mevis kick.
No question. I mean, I wrote after the game, whatever the rest of Brady Cook's career holds, he's going to remember that day forever, and especially that drive. I mean, he takes the field with 85 seconds left, and like everybody knows, this can be career-defining for him. This can go either they can fail to score and maybe lose that game in overtime, or even worse, he can turn the ball over and they can lose the ball in regulation. And we know what the narrative is. He played a really good game up until Missouri had to have it, and then he did. And the Sam Horn, calls are getting louder. I was odd to me in the third quarter how many fans were saying, well, he's clearly hurt. If Drinkwitz doesn't play Sam Horn here, I don't know what we're doing. Like, there were a lot of Sam Horn calls in that third quarter, which was weird to me. But none of that ended up happening. What ended up happening is this kid went out there and led Missouri to the game-winning points, despite his coach making it a little bit harder in a couple instances for him. And that was, I think, if he goes on to, if Missouri wins 8 or 9 games this year, he's the starter next year, like, that's the day you might end up looking back at and say, he answered every critic, and he became the player that, frankly, very, very few people thought he could become. So, good for Brady. I thought he had a great day. And again, I thought it was cool that his coach defended him. We gave him the chance in the post game to fire back a little bit, but if you know anything about Brady Cook, he's not going to do that. He didn't really come close, but I thought he had a great quote when he said, all I've ever wanted to do is play quarterback here. And I would love it if everybody else wanted me to play quarterback here. Maybe today we'll change some of their minds.
Yeah, that sure was a good quote. And last week, we talked about potential changes we might see. I think we did see a change at right guard, and then he got injured. And then, let's see, were there 2 injuries on the offensive line on Saturday? Cameron and Marcellus?
Well, Xavier Delgado got hurt, but he missed 1 snap. So they played 4 of the 5 for 1 snap. Marcellus Johnson came in for Cameron and played pretty well. I think he ended up playing 30 snaps before he got hurt. I'm not sure what the injury situation with him is. We'll find out tomorrow. Cameron Johnson still ended up playing a little over 50% of the snaps. I thought was better. Did have a false start. There were a couple kind of costly penalties on the line. I think Javon Foster had either a false start or a hold. They were, maybe not as good as you want them to be, but better. Considering the competition especially. I can't remember what grade we gave the offensive line. I want to say like somewhere in the C+ B- range. So not as good as you'd like it to be, but better than it was the week before.
And he clearly made some changes at tight end. I think Norfleet saw maybe 19, 20 snaps, and they were impactful. I mean, that catch on the sideline was an elite tight end catch, and he seems to be a great target. Yeah. So I hope we see more of that down the line here because that is a mismatch nightmare.
Yeah, I think Brett Norfleet is the starter at tight end. I posted a stat last week. Before that game, if you take every player who is suited up at tight end for Eli Drinkwitz at Missouri, which is, 3 years and 2 games, if you add every single one of them up, they've been almost as productive as Martin Rucker was in his senior season. Now, is that a little bit of an unfair comparison because T. Rucker ended up being, I would say the second best player in history at that position for Missouri, and he was playing with the best one. Maybe an unfair comparison, but still, you're talking about like 10 guys you would like them to equal in 3.5 years what one guy did, especially when he was maybe the second option at his own position. But I think Norfleet is the best weapon there. But I also think it's worth pointing out that Luther Burden's second touchdown does not happen without Tyler Stevens making a hell of a block at the 10-yard line and getting. I mean, it's a nice gain without it, but Luther probably doesn't score on that play without it.
Gabe Yarbin with us on Mondays here on TMA's, with us on Fridays on Balloon Party. All of it's presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. James is in studio with us here in the Michelob Ultra Studios. He is my insurance agent, and I recommend him to our audience. Go online at carltoninsurance.net. Colonel, what are you hearing regarding ticket sales for this coming Saturday, and your thoughts on the team carrying the momentum from this past Saturday into St. Louis against Memphis?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's the old kind of adage, hey, last week might have been the biggest game Eli Drinkwitz has ever coached here. Well, they just get bigger if you win. This week is now, I talked to somebody yesterday, and I was talking about the possibility of being 5-0 with LSU coming in here in 2 weeks, and they said, no, we got to be 4-0 first. They said, last week doesn't matter if we don't win this week, And Memphis is not a bad team. I mean, Missouri's a touchdown favorite. It was a little lower than I thought it might be. But Memphis is 3-0, and they're better than Middle Tennessee. So let's see. As far as ticket sales, I would just say, if you want a ticket to this game, you get a ticket to this game. I don't think it's going to be very difficult. It just, again, I understand why Missouri did what it did with this game. They needed to get St. Louis a game and all that. Memphis is not going to draw in any of the casual fans. Memphis doesn't even bring many people to its own home games. And I think Missouri fans are going to, the casual Missouri fan, look, the diehards are going to every game, right? It doesn't matter who you play or where you play them. Big crowds, sellouts come because you get the casual fan on board. Well, a casual fan's not going to look and go, "Oh, Memphis, that's the one. That's the one I want to go to." Even if it is, I think a casual fan is more likely to say, "Hey, I'll spend 4 hours in the car to see LSU or even South Carolina or Florida," than they are, I'll drive 20 minutes to see Memphis. So plenty of good seats available. And I'm interested to see, I know they have this agreement with St. Louis to hold 10 events there over the next 2 years. But if they play a football game in front of 27,000, like I think they're going to, I don't really know what incentive there is for Missouri to say, hey, let's give up a home game and do this again.
Yeah, it's got to be a hassle for everybody up there. And you're probably worried about parking.
Well, I did ask about parking last week, media parking, and not real sure what the situation is.
Not much there, no.
I guess at some point we'll have a place to park.
Oh, you'll have to. You may have to pay 30 or 40
Horseshoe
bucks.
Casino.
There you go. Oh, yeah, that's
maybe at the airport DoubleTree, but we'll see.
Colonel, I saw you had a post last night regarding an update on Wingo, the wide receiver out of St. Louis University High School. What can you share with the audience?
Well, the momentum has certainly swung in favor of Texas in the last couple of weeks. I had heard last week, hey, Texas is probably, like, if he makes a decision today, it probably would be Texas. Texas seems to be in the lead. He was in Austin for the game against Wyoming, has reposted a lot of comments and updates and stuff about him being in Austin. Was told yesterday by somebody I know down in Texas, hey, I don't think it's done, but I'm getting the feeling it's pretty close. Hasn't said that publicly, and I want to be clear, this is not like any commentary on the Wingo family, but they're going to keep people guessing. This is the third member of that family I've covered going through the recruiting process, and they're going to play it pretty close to the vest publicly. I don't know if he will do anything publicly prior to December 20th. There's no real indication he will now. Everything in recruiting can change. It's always a little bit of a guess, but we are just hearing right now that seems more likely than not that Texas is the eventual choice, at least as of today.
You think after a win like that, Drinkwitz gets on the phone Saturday night and calls some of the key recruits who might be on the fence?
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about it. Yeah. Just, hey, did you see what we did? And especially, like, if you're talking about Ryan Wingo, hey, did you see we put up 30 points and a wide receiver from St. Louis is averaging 108 yards a game, and he looks like a superstar and a first-round NFL pick right now? Yeah, that's absolutely a pitch they're using.
Final thought, Colonel. I want to go with a macro perspective on what Saturday meant, both short-term, as in the 2023 season, and also from a program standpoint. Because had it gone the other way, just for the purpose of having the conversation like we did, if they would have lost after the delay of game penalty in overtime, I can't imagine what you would have been writing about and what people around the state would have been writing about, people around college football would have been writing about with regards to Eli Drinkwitz, which may have been unfair with its level of how harsh it would have been, because I thought that team was prepared and the offense was executed really in phenomenal fashion in the first half, but the end of the game it got away from them coaching-wise. But because they won, and now they're 3-0, and they have a spot where they have people talking about them, both locally and nationally, because of that kick, it has the opportunity to be a real building block. And as you mentioned, it doesn't matter if you don't win on Saturday. So from the perspective of looking around in 2023 and the SEC, perhaps looking, relatively speaking, vulnerable, comparatively speaking, to other years, and then also what it means beyond 2023, your perspective, sir.
Yeah, I think it means for this year, it keeps the possibility of like a real momentum-building season on the table. Said last week, I didn't think 8 wins was really very feasible if you didn't win this game. Now that they did win this game, what you're really looking at between Kentucky, South Carolina, Florida, Arkansas, and Tennessee is you need to win. You need to go 3-2 in those games. If you go 3-2 in those games, you're looking at an 8-win season. And I think an 8-win season does move the needle with this fan base and is clear, hey, we're making progress. This thing's going in the right direction. There's a lot of reasons to believe it will work. Just long term, I think what it means is, at least for me, barring collapse, I'm done talking anything about whether Eli's the coach next year. He would, I think bare minimum, even if you go 2-3 in those games, you're 7-5, and 7-5. We're not talking about firing a guy at 7-5. So unless the wheels kind of come off, and hey, if they win these next 2 games, they're going to be 5-0 in the top 25 when LSU comes to town on October 7th, and can't get much better than that. So I don't really see any reason to talk about Eli on the hot seat going forward. He came into the season probably on the hottest seat in the conference. I think he has fallen behind Sam Pittman and Clark Lee in those conversations, and is pretty secure, at least as things stand today. But we all know in the SEC they are all on 1-year contracts, and we'll see how it goes. But to me, that's a dead topic at this point.
All right, there he is, the Colonel. It will hopefully continue with a win on Saturday against Memphis in St. Louis. Gabe DeArmond with us here on the Ryan Kelly Morning After, presented to you by James Carlton. Thank you, Colonel.
All right, guys, have a good one.
All right, thanks, Gabe DeArmond, the Colonel. Doug, you know where he's going?
It's hard to
Ryder Cup, Rome.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, how about that? That Colonel.
Yeah, my
middle of
neighbor's
football
going to.
season, huh? No, I'm just teasing.
It's hard to keep Gabe focused on just the team because he always wants to talk about uniforms.
I know. That's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough.
And when we can keep him on topic after a win like this, it's nice.
What do you think they'll wear on Saturday at the Dome?
Bumblebees. I would like to see the traditional Missouri uniform. Black helmet, block M.
We might get that.
Black jersey, gold, not yellow pants, gold pants. That's what I'd like to see. But, I'm an old weirdo.
I was glad, selfishly, that they weren't ranked coming out. I feel like this is an easy game to overlook, and Memphis is, they could lose to Memphis. Like I didn't see a scenario where they lose to South Dakota. They could lose to Memphis, and so I don't want them thinking they're too much and going in and overlooking this game, because my gosh, the thought of that 5-0 hosting LSU is very attractive, and I'd like to see it come to fruition. And obviously, this is probably I don't know. You think this is tougher than at Vanderbilt right now? I mean, the way UNLV scored on Vanderbilt, I'm not too concerned about that game. I would say this is the scarier game of the last 2 before LSU.
I would say that because it's so tough to stay up. I mean, you just had something like that. If you go back to the game that Doug said was the best one in his opinion since over the last 15 years or so, it would have been Oklahoma. If you remember, they were undefeated, top 10, close to top 5. beat number 1 BCS rankings anyway, Oklahoma, and then they really played a poor game against, I think Blaine Gabbert got hurt, but in Lincoln against Nebraska. And then I think they lost to a subpar Texas Tech team, relatively speaking. So a great season, just like that, gone. So this is a real test for the coaches to keep the focus and to make sure they're up. It could be tough if you're walking into, how often in college football do you go from a sold-out atmosphere and that kind of win to, I mean, that building, and it's a home game, theoretically, in St. Louis, and it could be, I mean, we've seen the dome empty with football. That you gotta, Memphis kind of is in the spot of having nothing to lose, undefeated. Will play the disrespect card. Ideally, Missouri can stay focused and not let this one slip away. It's something Jackson and I were kind of joking about in commercial breaks on Balloon Party. Like, they're going to win against K-State and then watch them lose against Memphis. It would just be the absolute torturous thing,
Mm-hmm.
But what I saw from the first half, Brady Cook, and then that final quarter as well, especially considering he wasn't healthy in the final quarter. God, that was so impressive. And Luther Burden, it goes without saying. Certainly still some questions. You brought up the third downs, both defensively and offensively. Not good. Offensive line at moments, running game. But that's a significant win if it can, even if you lose against LSU, if you can get that game and get a 2:30 or 7 p.m. start and get national attention. Ideally, LSU still has the one loss.
Right, and you're free rolling.
You really are at that point, because then your worst case scenario is 5-1. But it's a monster step back if you have this momentum and you lose to Memphis or Vanderbilt.
What would you set that spread at right now if those two teams were playing?
LSU and Missouri right now, I would say LSU minus, I bet it would be set at LSU minus, I would say anywhere from 7.5 to 9.
Oh, really? Okay. I was thinking 7. And then what about Georgia? If they played at Athens, this coming weekend after their performance against South Carolina.
Favored by 21.
Okay. Wow.
That's just the way that it would be.
Yeah, I mean, but
that's the thing. That's why Gabe writes, and he wrote it in his column this morning, things are never as good as they seem and they're never as bad as they seem. And gamblers who are profitable recognize when markets are falsified by prisoner of the moment thought. And that's why, I keep talking about the delay a game thing, because if Mevis misses that kick, which he misses, I think we agree, 80-85% of the time, not his fault, 61-yard kick, and K-State wins in overtime, which at that point is a coin flip, Eli Drinkwitz's job is on the line this morning throughout the state, and he's being talked about nationally for the delay a game penalty.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that is how close these things are. And that's why I was prepared on watching that game going, man, I'm going to be in a weird spot because I'm going to be defending Eli Drinkwitz. That is up until the delay of game penalties.
Right.
For what I thought was a great game plan and execution, and he was in a tough spot because his quarterback got hurt, and they weren't the same team in the second half that they were in the first half, and that's not Eli Drinkwitz's fault. But I know, had they lost that game with the delay of game penalty, he's going to have to spring a win against, take your pick of one of the teams that he's absolutely not expected to beat in order to save his job, because you can't have that happen. Fortunately, it happened. They learned from it. He knows he dodged a bullet, and it never happens again. If it happens again, my God, that was really bad. But fortunately, it happens in a winning effort, similar to the game against Middle Tennessee State, which was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
That was really bad. But it may have been much better for Missouri that it happened like that, because they knew they had to go to work to even hang with K-State.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Had they beaten Middle Tennessee State by 50, and everybody's talking about how great they are, those are the kinds of things where you can get slipped up. Look at Texas this week. They were trailing Wyoming. Look at Georgia this week. They were trailing 14-3 against South Carolina. It can happen really quickly, and it can blow up a season. Not as, you don't expect Missouri to be at that level, but it turns the focus. That's why I'm keeping my eye on this Memphis thing.
Absolutely. No, this is not a walkthrough, just, line up and we're going to get a W. I mean, they need to be prepared and not be too high on themselves, but it's just exciting to have.
It is. It's so great to have it going on.
There's a good potential. We have meaningful football in October.
And it's the first time you can really say that, because even in 2014 when they won the SEC East, they lost to Indiana.
Early.
Yes. In September.
Yes.
So that kind of, in your mind, blows that up. And even then, I recall that I remember interviewing, God, I can't remember his name. We were down in Atlanta doing the show the day before they played Alabama, and the thought process was, even if Missouri wins, they still can't be in the national championship. You can't have a team playing for the national championship because this was the last year before the CFP, that lost to Indiana at home. You can't have that. I don't care if they beat Alabama. I remember there was Brian Jones of CBS. He was in studio with me when I was down there doing the show, and he goes, you just can't have that because they had lost to Georgia as well. So they were a 2-loss team going into that Alabama game. So you would have had a non-SEC representation in the national championship game. How weird would that have been? But Missouri got blown off the field anyway.
That Georgia game, I think the Cardinals played a playoff game that night. I went to both, and I think the Cardinals may have gotten shut out. You have such a good memory on these baseball playoff games.
Doug, was it against Madison Bumgarner and the Giants?
I don't know. This had to be the worst sports day of my life.
James, great to see you.
Looking forward
to
to
enjoy it. There he is.
Yes,
James
sir.
Carlton
Take care.
He sponsors everything Missouri at this point. I think you could get the uniforms you want.
Well, he's just a big old fan.
And a fan, just like you.
Just like you. I suppose Missouri will be kicking field goals now anytime they're inside, 65?
65 yards, might as well.
I guess. It's going to be a hard call, if first possession or any possession. Saturday, you got a 62-yarder, the fans are going to want to see him kick it again.
Tim Pulp, Ticketmaster, more than half the seats are unsold for Saturday night. That's from Brad and Boca.
I bet they start to go as the week goes on.
They said 1,000 tickets got sold right after the Mizzou.
Dave Matter, who is now working for the University Reporter.
Yeah, so, maybe a good, 6:30 kickoff. That's pretty optimal.
You're going to go there with Herb and Sweet Kai?
I think we're going to get a pretty big squad up there.
Oh, you getting a suite? Ball So Hard University?
No, I wouldn't go that far, but we're
What would a suite cost, you think, for that?
Too much.
You think so?
A couple thousand?
Yeah, I just don't see it being worth it.
Well, doesn't Mushmouth have that kind of or oatmeal or whatever the hell the guy's name is?
Yeah, but oatmeal's in Germany at the moment, so it's going to be tough for him to get.
Can you send over some Franks?
Yeah, I don't know. I just plan on going with a lot of my friends, and if there's not if there's a lot of seats available, it's just more room for us to dance by ourselves.
No.
What happens? And I know the season's still a success, but. Let's say you beat Memphis. Let's say you beat them sound. 3 scores.
Yeah,
maybe 7.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So you got that hype. You're obviously probably going to be in 23 to 20 range in terms of ranking, depending on what happened that weekend. There's a lot of ranked matchups going on.
I'm following you, Plock. I'm following
you. And you get slaughtered by LSU.
What happens in Vandy?
I think Vandy's. Let's say you go to LSU. You're ranked 18th or 17th. LSU's in the top 5.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. It depends what happens, but I would say 8 was. Okay, fine, all right.
And you get slaughtered by 28, and you look miserable. Your defense. I mean, what happens? It's still a good season. You still have a chance for 9 wins. I get that, but in terms of the fan expectations, how the players react. Do you turn on the team immediately after that, or do you look at the positives?
I don't know. It's so. I get the question. I love those kinds of questions because here I am. I mean, I've been talking about LSU and Missouri being undefeated since the schedule came out. Hoping for that. I was hoping LSU would be undefeated too, but I knew that was going to be tough just because their schedule's so tough to start with Florida State, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and Arkansas. Although Arkansas is certainly not looking like much of a force at this moment. But it depends on how it goes. Is Brady Cook healthy? Is LSU healthy? But from my standpoint, I feel like you're free rolling, and by free rolling, I mean you don't have a whole lot to lose. Kind of like kicking a 61-yard field goal, because people aren't necessarily expecting you to be in that spot. Now, if it's 50 to 20, then you'd go, God, the defense, they're just not ready to hang with that class But if you split the next 2 games and you're 6-2 after Kentucky and South Carolina and Lexington and then in Columbia, Missouri, I think most people would be pretty pleased with that.
Oh, I do too.
You know?
If Mizzou ever wins 8 or 9 games, most people are really happy with it.
Yeah, I did. Well, you still have to get there. I'm telling you, in the LSU game, you still have a path to 8 or 9 pretty easily. But do you do the players shut down? Do the fans stop showing up? Do they start back after one? After one,
the players
game,
won't shut down.
No, I'm not.
So, I don't think so. On the fans showing up, I mean that's why, and I keep hammering it, and maybe I'm ad nauseum. I think I am ad nauseum with it, but the 11 o'clock thing, that's a tribute to the Missouri fans that got there for that thing. I know K-State had a large representation, but those 11 o'clock starts are not optimal. People were in it. Then you have that happen, and that builds momentum for the program. But furthermore, it most likely takes you out of an 11 o'clock start for, it'd be shocked if it's an 11 o'clock start for LSU. That'd be really disappointing. If Missouri's undefeated, I don't know how that happens because it's not a huge weekend in the SEC that weekend. If you look at October 7th, I think the best game, at least what was considered the best game, and maybe it's not anymore, of note, the best game was Alabama, Texas A&M.
Yeah.
That does not look like the best game, potentially with A&M having lost to Miami and Alabama. I don't know what the situation is there.
I have a feeling he'll get that figured out, though.
You would just think, but I was watching the halftime show on CBS, and they're going, or maybe it was on SEC Network, either way, that Nick Saban needs to just go back to, you have 6'5", 320-pound average on your offensive line. South Florida doesn't have it. Just go and run the football if you don't have a quarterback, and then let your defense do it, and which is what he did. They wound up winning 17-3, in part because of the conditions. So we might see Alabama go back to like 2000s football as opposed to what we've seen recently with everybody, including Nick Saban, throwing the football all over the place. Point being, the SEC may be vulnerable this year. And that doesn't mean that Missouri goes and takes it. I'm not making that leap, but it just looks like it's not what it has been.
It doesn't look like
this
is a super team.
Right, or super teams at the moment. At the moment. Things can change. Let's see, it's 9:46. Jackson, what's going on? What's coming up on Balloon Party?
Well, that's the Little Piddles weekend wrap-up.
Oh, Angry Beaver. Angry Beaver was in with pizza on Friday.
They were. Tasty pizza.
Was it?
Yeah, so we'll be doing some of that. More just talking about the weekend that was in the world of sports. A lot of Missouri football talk, a lot of Colorado football talk, as those certainly locally and on the Colorado side nationally are grabbing a lot of headlines. So.
Angry Beaver, did they have the ketchup married sufficiently?
We talked about that with the gentleman from Angry Beaver when he came in with the pizza.
He said people really do come in and ask if Beer Cats marries ketchup.
Wow.
Well, I assume he does. Why wouldn't he?
Pretty good gig if you can get it.
Talk about Pally?
No.
Pally coleslaw?
No. Just ate some za.
Yeah. And the ketchup, Mary. Just how big a deal is that? Do people get upset if there's only half a bottle of ketchup on their table?
Here's when I get upset.
It's crusty.
If you have a glass bottle of ketchup at your restaurant, get with the times. You know what? The squeeze bottle was invented for a reason. There should be no reason I have to shake ketchup out of a glass bottle ever again.
Yeah. So you're kind of upset about it.
I'm just being honest with everybody.
What do they have at the Angry Beaver? Is it glass or is that a squeeze bottle?
I'm not sure.
Well, you should have asked him. He was here.
I should have. That's on me.
Yeah, you'll have to put out there. My sources are telling me we're going to get old school black jersey and gold pants with a Block M helmet Saturday.
Oh, great.
That's from KG and O-Town. He's got sources on the Missouri uniforms?
I hope so. That's the best look they have.
I would bet it's going black helmet, Block M, black jersey, white pants.
Wow.
I think they retired the gray too early.
The anthracite?
No, dude, did you see what Tennessee wore? It was either last week or the week before.
Their anthracite is awful.
The anthracite and orange. It's truly one of the worst uniforms I've ever seen.
It's a bad combo.
Who likes that?
Oh my God.
Gray and orange.
Doug, I'm going to text you a picture of this.
It is
Tennessee
one of the worst.
uniform. It might be the worst thing I've ever seen.
Because that's an awkward color to try to do much with anyway.
The burnt orange?
Yeah. But it's theirs, and so they wear it with pride, but they ought to hang with it. Anthracite and orange.
It looks so bad, because like the shoulder pads are orange, but the jerseys and helmet are gray.
And they do this thinking they're going to sell a ton of jerseys and helmets.
No, it's all about recruiting.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know recruiting.
Yep, you don't.
Apparently not. If you're recruiting a guy because he likes a certain uniform, you got the wrong guy.
That was Joe Strauss and Brian Burwell's thought when they talked about the uniforms about a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just sent you boys the picture of Tennessee's uniform.
Tennessee.
Yeah, they're bad.
Tennessee. Doug, let me tell you about Mentality.
Okay.
It's online at lowtusa.com. Decreased mental acuity, attention span, and stress can cause focus issues on even the most simple tasks. Belly fat, feeling bloated, and a lack of lean muscle and tone that used to be easy to get rid of or maintain. These are symptoms of low testosterone. Mentality is a local healthcare facility specifically dedicated to helping men feel and perform at their very best. It's Mentality online at lowtusa.com. That's Mentality at lowtusa.com. Now, even if you've been tested for your testosterone levels, if they didn't check for your free testosterone, you were not fully tested. Get fully tested with the fine people at Mentality. It's at lowtusa.com. That's Mentality at lowtusa.com. If you like this T-shirt I am wearing, it is brand new. It's the City of St. Louis flag with the TMA logo where the fleur-de-lis. You like that fleur-de-lis?
I don't mind it.
Okay. Would normally be TMASTLshop.com. You can get in a hoodie as well. All kinds of new T-shirts and hoodies available. 10% off at TMASTLshop.com. That's TMASTLshop.com. Jackson, what are we giving away today for our Design, Air, Heating, and Cooling email of the day? Anything? Or
I think just
championship.
A victory in the Email of the Month competition.
Well, there it is. And JV Golf Coach is leading. Morning, boys. Radio Gold today. Over the weekend, I stopped off at Marshall's and bought a not quite king Vera Wang comforter for $29.99.
Yeah. Overpaid.
Immediately after, I went to Fergie's on Lee May Ferry to talk up my new purchase to the middle-aged barmaid that always gives me her menthol heaters when I'm hammered and out of smokes. She was impressed when I said I had a Vera Wang and commented she wanted to get it, quote, dirty when the bar closed.
Oh.
After wearing her out and biting on her tankers? Doug, what are tankers?
I don't know. I don't want to ask.
She indeed got it dirty by catching it on fire by passing out with a lit cigarette.
Oh.
In the process of putting the fire out, I smoked that little bone next to your elbow on my closet door and won't be able to pitch my 99-mile-an-hour fastball in our softball game as I promised. Iggy, should I buy some of those icy hot patches for my wingy? What did you do? Thanks. That's from Grimy from South County.
Oh, Grimy from South County.
It's been a while since we heard from him, and maybe it'll be a longer while next time.
You don't like his text?
Well, I mean, it's all lies.
Oh.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And my will is to unzip those khakis and tickle my esophagus with what they're holding back. That's some Naughty Niles.
Wow.
Naughty Niles.
Kevin Miller ripoff.
Naughty Niles. He's new.
And finally,
wow,
this is it.
Hey, you talk a lot of Mizzou and people don't want to email in. Well, you just tell them lies anyway. You can't lie if we don't talk Mizzou.
Ours is the type of football program where the head coach feels free to drop in at any time and berate the fans for booing the 21-year-old who he's trying to set up with his daughter. Iggy's made a lot of these milkshake bets over the years, but how many of these bets are actually honored? I never hear Iggy or Doug talking about consuming the milkshake they won, or how good it tasted, or where the milkshake was from. Mount Rushmore of places in St. Louis to get a milkshake. Steak and Shake was always a strong play, but there's like 3 of them left. The one by Arena Liquor is my go-to, but only if the drive-thru is not backed up on a Hampton.
Happens often.
Crown Candy has got to be on there, but you know I don't get to Old North St. Louis as often as I'd like. The Fountain on Locust is a strong play, but aside from that, I'm not for sure what other places around town are still in business that make hand-dipped milkshakes. Maybe St. Louis Starter Packs can do a tournament of milkshakes. I'm sorry to hear Winning Time got canceled. I recorded it to VHS off my CenCom cable box, but I guess I had it set to the wrong HBO network because all the dialogue is dubbed in Spanish. Thus, I couldn't understand what Magic and Cookie were talking about during those boring phone call scenes.
Those are tough.
But the basketball scenes were fire. The cast was strong to quite strong, and there's some quality nudity as well. Unlike Doug, I enjoyed the topless white girl with the nice breast who had to stop banging Magic because his leg cast was making her uncomfortable.
Right.
But you know, some people like breast and some people don't like other breast.
Oh.
Like that's from Buck Swope.
Buck Swope with a nice little email today.
We have one last one that was a late entry at
okay.
9:54 a.m. here on Monday, September 18th, 2023. Annyeong. Wow, these emails suck. Thanks. That's from number one Asian intern Brian Henshin. Hey, Doug, getting the show back on track. I really enjoyed it the other night when you sprinkled some crunched up Luther Burden strips on my lower back and played Hungry Hungry Hippo with your mouth on my butt. Peace, Brian Henshin.
You think his editor knows he's writing this stuff instead of focusing on the high school scene?
That's some of the best stuff he's written.
We got to send
Colts
it in
beat the Texans yesterday. He was in Houston.
AR-15, what's going to happen with that?
Okay. I'll go for the one guy who appeared to put a little bit of work into the email, and that was a fellow by the name of Buck Swope.
Yeah, I'll vote for somebody who put a little work into it, too. I'm going to go with Henshin.
Oh.
I'm going to go with Grimy from South County.
Oh, so it's wide open now.
I'll go Swope.
Ah, thank you, Plowsy.
What are you doing?
Well, it was a nice little email this
It's
morning.
the only one that actually tried.
Right.
So what? None of them tried.
Tankers.
None of them tried. I'm going to vote for Grimy.
What, are you changing your vote?
I can't do that.
Yeah, that's illegal. The
Integrity.
bylaws, Doug. Yeah, the integrity. Speaking of integrity, Jackson and I are going to go read texts from people coming up from 10 to 11, and they will not be happy about us talking about college. That is coming up from 10 to 11 on Balloon Party. It's presented to you by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, and Alton Toyota. And it's the Little Piddles Weekend Wrap-Up presented by Angry Beaver. I got a sound story at 11:30, correct?
Yes. Yep.
And Doug, anything else you want to tell people?
I think we got it covered, Tim.
I think we did
I
it
don't know
all.
what else
we
there
said it
was,
all.
really.
We said it all. Iggy, anything you want to?
No, I got to I have to drive all the way out to Reeves-Barrick Road today to pick up some stuff for Gobble Bowl.
Well, that's not that far. It's just down 270 to 55.
Yeah, I'll stop by and see my mom and dad at Jefferson Barracks. I don't get out that way often, so when I do, I stop by.
Perfect reason.
Beautiful
There
day
you
for
go.
that.
Absolutely. Time for us to shut it down. For the Plowhawk, for Action Jackson, for Kenneth Iggy Strode, for my brother Kevin, for Douglas Oven Vaughn. I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Ryan Kelly Morning After from the Michelob Ultra Studios.
All right, here we go. Here's something new.